This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 790 for the week of Monday, October 9th, 2023. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
On today's show, we have three special guests with you. First, our very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey guys, I'm going well. I have my animal companion at my side, which everyone heard before we started recording. So it's a good sign.
I'm gonna assume that's Simba and not some other animal companion you've gotten in the meanwhile. If
it's
that's Simba. Okay, we have Eisner Award nominated author for Mermin, Dragon Racer. Right? You see now I'm getting in my head about it. Racer, right? No, Joey's just giving me a look.
That's
like,
right.
Ghost Hog, many more. You can find them at tragic-planet.net.
Oh, com. .com.
I don't know why I went with the... Anyway, Joey Weiser for this. Joey, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. Welcome to the spooky month of October, where we can talk about some ghouls and ghosts later today.
Fine, no goblins.
And last but not least, our special guest today is a manga letterer for such amazing series as Kaiju No. 8, Dragon Ball Super. You wrote a whole list I saw on your Twitter, which is what it's called, as well as a podcaster for his own One Piece podcast, One Piece at a Time, where I think you're up to Water 7 NES Lobby right now, right? Brandon Bovia, before I ask the question. Welcome, Brandon.
Hello! Thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
believe this is, I think, maybe my second or third time back on the show.
It's been a while. It's been too
it's been a
long.
long time.
Been a couple years, but in the time since my last appearance on the show, I started a One Piece podcast of my own called One Piece at a Time, where we read the manga 5 chapters a week. Just myself, my co-host Derek Bittner, who was trying to get back into the series, and he dropped off around Punk Hazard, so we're basically like, and I haven't read the early stuff of the manga in a really long time, so it's basically like two people who are more or less fresh,
Familiar,
Nice.
passing
Yeah.
familiarity. Well,
Yeah,
at least
there's
that.
there's a lot of, oh, I don't remember that. That's how that happened, or
All right.
or experience from watching the anime. You're like, oh, that happened a lot faster than I remembered it. That's more or less what we do for an hour every week. And we just passed chapter 400, so we are like all the fighting's about to start in India's lobby.
Yeah, and he's
I
lobby.
was trying to remember
Yeah.
exactly where that was.
Just got out of the flashback.
So you're
Oh,
almost up to like 100 episodes then.
Yeah, we are. Oh God, I think we're like 88, 87.
Nice.
You know,
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just saw Ian James Cordy posting that he's doing his most recent NES Lobby read, or Water 7 NES Lobby read through. So,
Henry Gilbert, too. Henry Gilbert.
oh yeah, Henry's up to it too.
Yeah, a lot of people read One Piece.
A lot of people
Yeah.
reading specifically Water 7 and NES Lobby, which
I mean,
they should.
you know.
it's the right move.
I always remember when those Viz volumes were coming out for the first time, and I was reading through that while like waiting to be selected from jury duty, and I was just like, God damn.
So
Yeah.
I remember when I was
Bring me
reading
in
those
another
week
day.
to week.
I'll sit here reading this. Yeah, my one shame is not getting caught up during that time. It's the good stuff.
my secret shame. So we have a lot of news, both podcast related and One Piece related. I'm going to start with the podcast related because I'm biased. First, Steve, we need to start up front with the amazing project that you are doing that drops on October 18th, and for patrons of this particular podcast, October 11th. Steve, you want to
Wow.
talk about it?
Didn't know I'd be plugging it this soon, but yeah, I guess it's somewhat adjacent to One Piece, but very Maji Media related. I am, get this, I'm co-hosting a brand new podcast.
You?
And me.
Who thought you?
It's called, and get this, it's called 4 Kids Flashback. Wait a minute. Don't run
You
away.
already did that, Steve.
I know, see, it's different now.
Okay.
No, it's, kind of, from that, an opportunity came up with voice actor Tara Sands, who worked at 4 Kids for a time. was interested in collabing and doing a podcast just talking about 4Kids, everything and anything from there, because I think one of the things that came up so much during my podcast with Alex was with so many questions.
First, who are these people?
Mostly, yeah, but also why. A lot of whys.
Why, I think, was
I think there's so little authentic and accurate information out there about the company. I thought this would be this was a really good idea, especially collabing with someone who was there, because I think some authenticity there is what I'm striving for there. But we've already been recording a bunch of episodes. I think it's a lot of fun. Look forward to it coming very soon, and you could check it out. We have a website already set up for it, 4kidsflashback.com. That's what the number 4. And yeah, we got like a Patreon set up already if you want to kick back. I think we're gonna do something similar to what we do with the podcast here and have ad-free episodes on there.
Plus,
And
since you record ahead of time, yeah,
we're gonna be looking to putting episodes out early exclusively on our Patreon. So if you like the show so much and you just can't wait another week, we got you covered.
you see, we record here hours before we release, so unless you want, like, you could be an hour ahead of everyone, I guess, if we really wanted.
Yeah, One Piece podcast is very fly by night.
Yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants. The other podcast related news is that OPLA continues, and Steve is also involved in that. Get this, he's co-hosting a podcast. It's about the One Piece involving real people and not fictional people, although they're fictional in that they are portraying fictional people. Steve, did I get that correct? Is that the description? Anyway,
that's more or less something we say every week.
It's a podcast about Netflix's One Piece, where Vero and Steve go through 2 episodes at a time, and we also have interviews with some of the people behind it. The writer's strike just ended, so that's great, and hopefully we could get some writers on in the future. But the Screen Guild strike continues, and hopefully Netflix and the other studios give them what they deserve. There was a recent New York Times article about the One Piece live action saying it's basically because of the actors that it's great. It's definitely one of the main reasons. So pay them. Anyway, we have this week we had an interview with Nick Louie, who's basically been involved from the beginning with One Piece. Listen to that. It's already on the feed. And then this Wednesday, we have an interview with Marc Jobst, who is the director for the first 2 episodes and is also an executive producer and was integral in putting the cast together and a lot more. We barely get into things with him. I know, Steve, you were really into that. You were really connecting with that interview.
Yeah, he's like quite an interesting fella, and he had so much to say, and just like just a very just a warm presence. I'm very proud of how that interview came out. It was really cool, and we even wound up talking with him a little bit after the interview too.
I stopped recording like an idiot.
Yeah.
Me,
but he was such a nice guy, and like just very gave us so much time, and really look forward to it. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the podcast already, where we're talking about the live action, I think the interviews are some really great stuff.
Yeah, that's like some of the most proud stuff that I've done over the last decade and a half. Proud. Makes me proud. And yeah, so check that out. Now, One Piece news, not podcast news. And the big news is literally big, to steal a joke I think Steve made originally. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will be featuring a giant Luffy balloon. This is legitimately surreal. I think everything about One Piece this year has been kind of surreal. But does anyone have any thoughts, or will anyone be attending the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City in the cold days of November?
I'll attend it from my couch in my warm living room.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Plus, you can't really see you see the balloons from below if you're on the street.
Right.
Like, you're not really.
It's like a front-facing Simpsons character. It looks weird.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I'll get the
If you want
cynicism
the
out of
perspective of Gear 5 Luffy about to punch you from the
wish.
clouds.
I'm happy they went with Luffy in his regular form, but at the same time, like Gear 5 Luffy was literally created. There's a giant version of him. I mean, it just feels like.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you might as well just attach a big flag to him that says Ace is dead or something.
I think that's a great idea. Or is this a sarcastic?
No. Yeah, I remember thinking it was such a big deal that Goku got into the parade like 5 years ago. And I don't think Luffy's not quite on that Western appeal the way Dragon Ball is, but still for Luffy to be in this parade. I like growing up it was a huge deal when Sonic got in, when Pikachu got in.
I remember the Pikachu when Pikachu got in.
To me, like, this is really cool. And I think, like, most Americans know what the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is. I think maybe some of our foreign, like, for our listeners outside of the U.S., they might not know what this is. But, like, Thanksgiving is, like, a big holiday here. And, that's, like, a big tradition.
We eat a lot and then fall asleep.
We eat a lot.
Culturally insensitive
it's
reasons.
a big parade that has huge balloons, mostly from... it's mostly just a big marketing scheme where it's like promoting a toy line or a show.
It's promoting a lot of Broadway shows usually. That's
Broadway too. Yeah.
Here comes
And they got,
Snoopy
like, high school
promoting
marketing.
insurance and banks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it was really cool, like coming right off the heels of that SGS episode where Greg was talking about how the Japanese side of things are always kind of like reaching for these kind of big American marketing milestones. And some of the stuff has been like really cool, like the New York Times article, but maybe doesn't quite have the same impact that they might think it does. And something like this, I think, is really on that level of being like, it's really going to be like in front of so many American viewers' eyes, and like the timing with the Netflix show is so perfect. I mean, I'm sure that's why it's happening. But like, it's the kind of thing where people might actually know who this character is when they see it, which is exciting.
And Greg also mentioned, Stephen, on the SGS that morning shows were a way to get it out, and not just Whoopi Goldberg here, but the Thanksgiving Day Parade is basically a giant morning show hosted by the Today Show.
Yes,
and
I mean, pretty much
pronounce it correctly. We'll see.
The only echelon that they can get that would be higher is if Luffy appears in like the Super Bowl halftime show, in terms of public events that people watch on TV. So that's
just listening on the show. It's like Super Bowl halftime show.
It's like they do the USC halftime show.
Yes, the band.
Yeah, and that completely fumbled it. Yeah. For lack of a better.
But like, what's good about the Macy's Day Parade? You're saying it's hosted by Today's Show. These daytime talk show hosts have to like promote every single float and balloon that comes by. So One Piece and Luffy is gonna get name dropped. Don't know how they're gonna pronounce it.
Shonen Jump.
Luffy.
Yeah. I want to hear Luffy so bad. Please, please give me a Luffy.
Hey, I tweeted at Savannah Guthrie and Hoda. I'm not going to even try.
Cotby.
The funniest thing is just how, like, because they mispronounce like Super Saiyan, but they pronounce it Super Saiyan, and I'm like, well, technically,
that's more correct,
that's
actually.
That's the way I like to say it. So
more accurate,
It's like when you're so far one direction, you're accidentally correct. We'll definitely be talking more about this in Thanksgiving. Steven, sorry. Go
I was gonna say, we joked. Obviously, Luffy is not on the level of Goku in terms of visibility and recognition, but I do want to say, it's been 20 years now, and I've never seen Naruto in the Macy's Day Parade. So I think we finally won, guys.
Shots fired.
we won the big war that we all know that.
I forgot we were still fighting that war.
Oh yeah, forever. No one who's a fan of Naruto is also a fan of One Piece, or vice versa. So good thing.
Don't worry, No, never mind.
Brandon, no.
I was going to say we'll get Kagurabachi in the Thanksgiving Day Parade next year.
Okay.
That's neither here nor there.
His way to success.
I think a Kaiju number 8 would be more appropriate. Something from Kaiju number 8. I was going to say though, what is it's the God Super Saiyan Super God Saiyan that's afloat. They can't use Gear 5. Blue. I don't know. I'm not.
Like what's the spoiler with Super Saiyan Blue? It's Super Saiyan, but it's blue.
But it's blue. Yeah, but when does that?
But also,
happen?
like
they trained
Luffy
really hard off
press
screen
B to select the character.
Yeah. with Luffy, Zach, you got to think about like 95% of the story. Luffy doesn't look like that.
No, so, I know. I'm being facetious.
Now let's drag this out for 30 more minutes. We started on time.
I need a debate. We'll talk about this on Thanksgiving probably when we do our live from our dinner table. Everyone's going to be with their families. We're going to record from the table. It's going to be very awkward. There's 2 other little pieces of news. Guys, are you all fans of Movie 8?
No.
Is that the Drum Island one?
No.
The
Alabasta
one. That's available now for free on YouTube. Thanks to the folks at Toy Animation. So now you too could hate Movie 8. Movie 9 is also, I think it's still available there for free. That one's good. You could check that one out. That's the episode of Chopper one.
Okay. It was one off
with Wapple's brother.
You were almost there.
Is that technically the last one before Strong World?
Yes, that's the end of the pre-film era. David Sobolov and Gabe Kunda, voices of Kaido and King, are going to be doing a New York Comic Con villains panel. Speaking of, once again, the notoriety of One Piece being bigger at conventions even. So if you get a chance, go to that. That sounds like a lot of fun. And Gabe is a friend of the show. And we also, the last piece of news is that Manga, there's a lot of news this week. Manga Plus has taken from Apple, and now it's Manga Plus Max. I don't know how many more. Yeah. Well, no, they have introduced a service called Manga Plus Max, which is, I think, essentially, Joey, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the vault for Shonen Jump.
There's a few different subscription levels. There's one subscription level to read current series, and then there's another, which I believe is the max version, where you can read completed series as well.
I'm confused.
And they have like a few more series than Viz does, right? As far as
and it's also available in countries that Viz isn't available in.
Manga Plus, Steve. Yeah, it's more. This is a bigger international news story. Right. If you're in our bubble watching the Thanksgiving Day parade, as Americans do, then that's all we really do. Then, well, here we go. But this is for everyone else. I think that's everything I have to say on things that have happened. I really want to talk about this week's chapter, so we should get right into it. And by right into it, I mean after 20 minutes of talking or something. Let's get started. This is the manga recap for chapter 1094. Oh, this is a short title. Let me get ready. 5 Elders, Godhead of Science and Defense, Saint Jaygarcia Saturn. I knew I'd fuck that up. This chapter is available wherever you get your manga, which has to be one of 2 places: shonenjump.viz.com, mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. It's legal, free, available worldwide. Ed, let's talk about the cover of Shonen Jump first.
Sure. Following up on last week's chapter of Luffy versus Kizaru, we have Luffy and Kizaru on the cover of Jump this week with the very sparkly One Piece logo in rainbow colors, and it's all it's pretty cool. And I guess there's some information about the monsters.
Well, that's what the color spread. Yeah, we'll talk about when we get to the color spread.
Yeah.
I also liked what the Shonen Jump website did with this cover. With like cool electric-y lightning effects, I guess. This is fun. I'm sure the Kizaru Luffy fight is going to be the center of attention for a while, so that's timely.
Sure.
Yeah, cool lighting on Kizaru especially.
Mm-hmm.
The coloring on him is really cool.
You know, I think we've talked about with all the laser beams in One Piece, but he does such a good job with the shading. So it's interesting to see this power in color as drawn by Oda, which I don't think we get a ton of. So that's fun.
I look forward to seeing this again in black and white on the inside cover page of some future volume where it's not nearly as cool.
Let's say volume 110.
Yeah, something like that.
So for those listening in the year 2025, tell me if I'm right. Let's talk about the color spread, Ed.
Sure. It's a big Shimotsky family reunion on the color spread this week. It's all the members of the Shimotsky family. Koshiro, Kozaburo, Kuina, Zoro, Ryuma, Ushimaru, and Yasuie. And I think that's
Onimaru.
And of course. And I think that's pre-zombie Ryuma in the background.
In the back.
Yeah, that has to be who that is. Yeah.
Oops, all Shimotskis.
Oh, I'll write it down.
But 103 Mercies, Dragon Damnation, which is the attack from monsters, isn't it?
Well, maybe, but it is the attack that Zoro used against King.
Oh, right.
In terms of appearing in the manga, which I didn't, at first glance, I opened it up and I saw this spread and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what are all these kanji? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's right. It is the attack that Zoro used. And maybe he did use it in Monsters. I don't actually know. But it is also the subtitle for the Monsters OVA, the anime that they are doing, which was apparent to me because all of the advertising text that we helpfully remove from the sides of the spread so that you get this nice clean art. In the original Japanese, in Jump, it says, hey, special commemorative color spread for the production of Monsters anime. So that's what it's for. I'm not sure why this particular timing, but
yeah, right.
It's cool.
When is that coming out? Do we know?
I assume they're really early in from the fact that we've only gotten a still, and by a still, I mean a poster.
Yeah.
I think.
But as far as I know, I believe it's just a 30-minute thing. So it's not a feature length anything. It's just an episode of. I
mean, I assume it will look feature-ish
I would hope so,
worthy, from the amount of work that seems to be going.
Well, regardless, this is a color spread for us Zoro heads out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait for it to show up on the calendar next year.
Hopefully. I mean, I'm not sure whether this.
I wonder if this is going to make it in. Yeah, this is like one of those. Like in the color walks, they have those the things at the end of like commemorative or other sorts of color spreads, and I see it there. I don't know. Joey,
Well, actually, no. We'll tee up for Joey because he has the same, probably the same thing I was gonna say.
Oh, I don't know.
I was going to tee you up for the process
rules.
video.
I have a few things to say about it, but I think this rules. I love it. I saw the process video this morning, and there was a pretty cool sketch with Zoro very confidently sitting on top of a rock for most of the sketching that he kind of switched up to be this action pose, which is, it's very dynamic looking. I thought the like cool sitting Zoro also looked good. I'm loving like the coloring on Ryuma, especially that kind of ghostly green coloring is really amazing. I love this all around. I saw some criticism that this includes Onimaru, but not Toko. But I kind of see this as the descendants via swords also, as like swordsmen, and that being kind of a big theme, like going back all the way to someone who killed this dragon as depicted in Monsters. So I think that kind of swordsmanship is a theme almost as much as like the actual family lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, also Toko is an orphan. Well, in multiple ways now, but she was picked up by Yasuie. She is not his actual daughter.
A two-time orphan.
But Onimaru as well is is a fox. But
do we not count
a thing that I think is funny about this, a thing that kind of amuses me a bit, is that Oda felt compelled to include the teeny tiny foot of Ryuma below Zoro's foot there. Like,
oh my god!
I think that's maybe a little unnecessary, but
it kind of looked like I thought for a second there I was like, is that like a street, like a traffic light? Looked like looks sort of like a hanging traffic light.
It does. It does look like a traffic light. I think they have horizontal ones in Japan.
I will say Oda's using that. Maybe it's like a light lavender or a blue or a gray marker use that a lot more for his shadow details.
Yeah,
because he used this. If you got the
he's been into that
color walk calendar from last year. Yeah, you could see a little bit of that on this current month spread. But
I feel like Kuina really stands out as like compared to when we saw her in the manga last.
Hey, no blue hair.
Like, I think she always had. She always had black hair.
Yeah.
In the manga verse. So
yeah. Tashigi has blue hair though, right?
I think it's black hair in the colored manga. So.
Oh, okay. Well, Shimotsuki
Tashigi.
Beckman.
It's always what I call
what were you gonna say, Alex? That you thought that I was gonna say?
No. Yeah, about the rock pose. I actually think it's cooler.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah.
Because now all I could see is like, what is he standing on? But it's a color spread.
No, he's in the middle of an attack. I mean, I get that.
He's leaping off of the rock that is off the panel.
It's behind the fire. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this color spread? If not, Ed, take us into the chapter.
All right, this is chapter 1094, Five Elders, Godhead of Science and Defense, Saint Jaygarcia Saturn. Jaygarcia Saturn.
Did you say Jaygarcia Saturn?
Jaygarcia Saturn. All right. So this is Atlas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Atlas, we're recounting Atlas's order to wipe out all the Navy sailors on this island. And we get the visualization of the hierarchy, and it shows that Vegapunk is making the announcement, but the Five Elders are above him.
No, but we don't have to worry about them.
No, of
the
course
chances
not,
of a Five Elder coming here anytime soon.
It'll be fine.
I do love the placement of the title just below this hierarchy chart, which is like when you're initially reading the chapter, you're like, oh well, this is gonna go to fucking hell.
Yeah. No, I think I'll go back to the authority chip. Actually, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It like loops back around.
And you're not going to miss a title that goes the entire width of the page.
That's the other thing. Like sometimes you do miss those, but
that's lettering, baby.
Yeah. Maybe the letterer should have made it really small and unreadable so you didn't spoil you for later. Well, okay, differences of opinion here. I guess.
All right. So we get some harumphs and murmurs. Is that an order from Vegapunk? That's not good. And we see the pacifistas are receiving the order. Boop, 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 boop. And then he starts shooting lasers.
Yeah, and probably a little too late. One of the guys says, "Stay away from the pacifistas," as they are already exploding. They're launching Akira bombs here on the men.
I mean, the usual for pacifistas. Point.
Yeah. I mean, this sequence is actually. I mean, it's kind of like old hat for us at this point, I think. But Oda does a good job of kind of showing how devastating it is, like with the guy, going for cover, and he looks like he's
that's a very good panel.
Wit's end, like everything's really shaded because of the light of the blast. So he does this kind of signature, strong, like dark, very dark shadows on all of these surfaces, and it looks real bad for the Navy. I certainly would not want to be dealing with these pacifistas right now, presumably these are like the vice admirals here because they have the capes. They are at a distance, and they're wondering, does this mean Vegapunk's come down from above? And then someone points up there, as you can see the little TIE fighter Vegatank.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Very similar shape. It is, as we find out, it is basically like rolling. It is trundling down the smokestack in the back there. We hear, presumably it's from Vegapunk probably, who is saying, "Search for Bonnie Atlas." And then we see there is the tank, the Vegatank 8, with everybody on board. And Atlas, it has her top half just poking out of the top of the bubble. And she is calling out, "Bonnie!" And Frankie is wondering, how's this thing driving straight down? We should be falling. And Vegapunk explains, "By their nature, island clouds will clump together." as
the pirate
Sanji.
blind, folks. Once
That's
again,
right.
It's full of pirate
you
boy.
better know your trivia.
Sanji is joining in. Bonnie, where are you? And Vegapunk continues, the tires of the Vegatank are made of island clouds, which means we will not plummet off. And suddenly Sanji says, I found her! And much to the surprise of everyone else, because Frankie, who has his visor on and everything, is like, you did,
literal
Sanji?
technology.
Yeah. And Sanji says, when has my lady radar ever been wrong? And great line from Vegapunk here. That sounds very unscientific, but I'll take it on faith. And then we see from the top down perspective
I like
here.
this panel too.
That kind of shows you how they are running down the clouds there. And Sanji says, thanks, pal. The only problem is this tank is not my tempo. I got to go check on her. And so he just zooms off and, kind of bounces down because presumably the Vegatank is not actually moving very fast. And so, Sanji has gone on ahead.
His lady radar, a.k.a. his LADAR.
It was LiDAR.
LiDAR. We flash down to Bonnie, and we hear one of the Marines say, Bonnie, the pirate's over there. Bonnie's thinking, good thing the pacifistas are on our side now. But before, I guess she can put a punctuation on that thought. A large Marine with a gigantic clam spear nearly hits her. And she kind of flips around. Or what's she doing? Oh no, she's twirling a pistol that she's got on her sidearm, and kind of shoot. She's kind of running. Somebody says, "I see Jewelry Bonnie," and she sort of does this somersault, shoots 3 dudes in the head, and says NDE, which stands for near-death experience.
Yeah. So which does she say, and how
NDE.
does she use the parenthetical?
No, I mean, in fact, I probably, if I had control of it, I probably would have pushed for maybe a smaller, for the parentheses, because it was NDE, but then the kanji were near death. Basically, it was the literal near death experience version of that. But then the ruby on the side that tells you how it's read is just NDE. So. I was like, okay, well, I'm not sure if everybody knows what NDE means, so I put it in there too.
Well, anyway, I should also mention in this panel, her butt is front and center, so I'm glad she gave them an NDE rather than an SBD. Silent but deadly.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Look, it wouldn't be One Piece without a few fart jokes. So it turns out that she didn't shoot them with bullets, but with some glop. Gloop glop. One of the Marines is like, and for a split second, he turns into a skeleton, screams, and he's back to a skinned person again.
There's a lot of good October-y things that happen.
It's like David. It's like Daniel Stern in Home Alone 2.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because it looks like it's being played for laughs, but also the way that he's crying when he comes back is it's kind of horrifying, really.
I think it does that thing that One Piece is very good at bridging the line of horrifying and funny simultaneously.
It's such a funny idea. It's so funny that somebody could be like, okay, if she can control age, she could make you so old you die, and somebody might just stop at that thought, but Oda takes it to a sort of more funny and somewhat more gentle
She brought it back. It's fine.
She makes you so old you almost die, and then puts you back to your young self, but you have to live with what you've just seen.
It makes me think
that's
actually. It makes me think actually now that the live action's going to do that, because they sort of, I don't know, make some things a little more serious. So I could maybe see that
if we get
making
there.
Bonnie more badass.
Oh, so she's just gonna do DE, death experience.
No more in.
You mean she's gonna shoot the guy with a bullet?
That
would do that.
That's
Much
true.
better than some goop. Continue. Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, it'd be a bullet that turns them into Donovan from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when he drinks from the wrong cup of Christ.
He chose poorly.
He chose poorly. So this Marine Vice Admiral with this clam spear says, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And these Marines who've been shot are foaming at the mouth and sort of they're traumatized. One of them says, "I saw the river Styx," and another Marine says, "Get back here, Bunny!" As she kind of hops over some ruin, and as she continues to run, she's stopped by a pacifista, and to quote the soup Nazi, he says, "No escape for you."
That's right.
As she is totally confused because I thought the pacifistas were I thought they're told to attack the Marines. Huh.
Yeah,
We'll find out on the
also,
next page.
He's not doing like a robot font. Very curious.
Oh, look at that! Now that's some good lettering.
Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
But why? And as we see, one of the vice admirals is riding on top of the shoulders of this pacifista. That's Navy HQ Vice Admiral Bluegrass. And it's
Cue the music.
Yeah. And we get a little old lady here. She says, "I can control an individual regardless of anything else. As a driver with the ride fruit, I can take a ride on anything and anyone."
Gross.
There's a lot of odd implications between this and the near-death experience.
Yeah.
Things that
Young
sound
or
a little
old.
odd if you think about it.
Young or old, it doesn't matter. In the dark.
Yeah, another interesting possible side thing here is that the Japanese for that is nori no mi. So noru is the verb for riding, but nori itself also has a lot of sort of side meanings, which can also include it's also like sort of like vibes, which I think is why she has the headphones on. Like she's sort of vibing as she does it. So I think that may be part of her characterization.
Interesting.
I will say that like this spread of vice admirals, it's like, you know, like the Ennie's Lobby Buster Call vice admirals were already pretty, you know, like, you know, it's like, oh, okay, you know, these are little kooky designs here. This is like the dial has been turned up to 11.
Yeah.
You know, we got Thumb Guy. You know,
Let's not forget Thumb Guy.
We got this old lady here. It's some really bizarre designs.
I mean, I think Barry Good though is still
Yeah,
hard
that
to
one's
top.
weird. Yeah. Well, I really like this. I think this is a very funny, like, I would have never thought of this power existing if you gave me a million years.
I think it was Donnie that tweeted, like, from the people that brought you the jacket fruit, bring you
this
now
one at
the
least
right
seems
fruit.
useful and not completely horrifying. Anyway, continue.
But she yells out to Bonnie, "It's like, if I kill you, will that undo the curse you put on our soldiers?" And the pacifista here fires up a Napa laser. And Bonnie internally says, "Dad, you're my daddy."
Dad.
Dad. And she yells out, "Give back their proper ages!" in a big laser blast. But someone gets Bonnie out of the way, and you hear it. "Come on, Bonnie, don't start spacing out now." And it's old Blackleg, better known as Sanji.
That would be pretty good if I had her say that. Old black leg.
It's old Blackleg. back from his, I don't know. Go ahead.
Renamed Captain Blackleg. He says, "I heard about how Kuma's your old man, but you gotta be smarter than this.
Sorry, go.
Or else you'll..." And then, this guy comes in. Yeah! He says, "Otter Hammer." I could only assume this is some sort of man who ate a otter zoa. Zoan?
Yeah, well, we saw him
look
in
at
human
his
form
butt
on the
yeah,
previous page.
yeah, no.
Look at his face.
This guy's the
Oh, yeah.
best.
Oh, and he's got a big seashell that he rests on.
Smash things. Yeah.
On the previous page,
tummy.
when I first saw him, I was like, "Is that a big broom or something?" And then here it all comes together, and I need to know everything about this man.
Thank you.
Oda did not give us the Oda box for this guy, which is a huge disappointment.
Maybe next week. I think of all the things we want to know from this week's chapter, Otterman top.
Maybe
Is number one.
like Otto Man, but Otter instead. You know those guitars that are like double guitars. You know.
But yeah, big otter hammer, and Sanji says, "Let's just get out of here," as he picks up Bonnie and runs off. And then Vegapunk pulls up in his jalopy and says, "Sanji, Bonnie, get on!" And I think this is Alice saying, "The pacifistas are on our side now. We're heading back up." Or so they
Dick
think.
Destiny is going to lap us.
So everything's going to be fine, but we head to the next page. We go to the lava phase. The egg is wide open as we zoom in and see. I mean, from afar, this looks like that super monkey ball thing. You know, like look at Luffy's outline there. It's fun and squiggly. As he's punching Kizaru, who's just a guy, and Kizaru's like, "Look, listen, I'm sorry, but if I spend all my time on you, I can't fulfill my mission." And Luffy's laughing, saying, "Yeah, but that's my mission." Okay.
Luffy's got the vid.
Is that what it's called now? And here goes Kizaru saying, "I can't have that." And pew. That's the sound effect. He goes off into the distance, but Luffy has cartoon power, so the only thing faster than the speed of light, as we all know, is Roadrunner. Oh, okay. And then things take a turn as we see reaction shots from Kizaru, who looks concerned, or his usual face. It's tough to tell the difference sometimes. We have Luffy, who has a shiver down his spine. Is that the same sound or what's the sound effect on Zoro's? I think
it's the same. It's one sound effect.
Same one. Oh, okay. It goes across. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my reading of Japanese is clear here. Zoro is also concerned. Lucci's is the one I'm most curious about. Just like what he knows and how he's digesting this information. Jinbei looks utterly shocked, saying, "What is this unearthly presence?"
Everyone is like an interesting word to use.
Yeah, I think it's just that. I mean, I assume, Stephen, maybe I don't know the precise translation here for the word that was translated, but maybe just like beyond anything, like beyond comprehension. But
yeah, well, it's more like let me just double check here. I believe it was more like what is this? Yeah, it's like what is this abnormal presence, basically? Something out of the ordinary for sure.
I think unearthly is good. It has implications.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought, and I like Jinbei specifically being the one there. Jinbei's still with Robin, right? Is he packing the bags with? Is that who he was packing bags with for Vegapunk?
Oh, that's right. I thought it was with Frank.
I was going to ask that next.
And then Frankie.
No, Frankie
ran off.
is. Yeah. No, he was with. I'll check.
Frankie's in the tank with the.
Yeah, he is now. But last time we saw Jinbei, he was working with somebody else.
I will check later, but I'm still reading this. So is this York in the gurney? Who is supposed to be here? Although York's enormous, right? So that makes sense. I think
some people said it might be Stussy too.
It's Yeah, it's probably Stussy, of course, because she got shot with a finger by Lucci. I forgot about that. As Usopp's saying to hurry. Usopp I know does have
heart with a finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could feel Steve being angry from here. As Usopp's like, hurry. And these are two. This is Dahl in the background. We don't know who the hell this guy in the front is.
Yeah, I don't
with
know
a
what
baton.
Sesame Street character this
Looks like he's like the Babadook, but like a marine.
Oh god.
No, this guy's a real Muppet. I agree with Steve. Anyway, we get a ominous voice.
Yeah, I feel like the way he operates, like I think it's just like a blanket with a mouth. That's what I think. That's what his anatomy is.
Vice Admiral Underbite.
He's like Sweetums.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember the Muppet character who that looks like. Anyway, we see an ominous set of eyes as we hear Pasta
Pastafistas?
Pasta Fista. We didn't talk about Saturn's accent, but Garcia, a pastafista, stand down. Pastafistas, stand down. I was trying to be serious, as I should have known to give up there. As we see the dark, sinister aura heading that way. Alex.
Yeah. So the pacifistas stop dead in their tracks. The pasta feet, and they those in the Vega tank kind of notice that. Hey, they're not escorting us anymore. Atlas is yelling at them to follow their orders, but to no avail. And questions that because the only thing above us on the authority hierarchy is the 5 elders, and just as if they said Beetlejuice 3 times, a gigantic pentagram shows up in the midst of these Marines. One of them says a magic pentagram, and as the Vega Tank 8 trundles along the clouds, love that word, Steven. Thank you. From earlier, they say, "This is odd. Let's hurry it on up. Something is coming." And we kind of get a shot of the Navy outside of Egghead, and we hear, "Alert to all units on location. Saint Saturn of the 5 Elders is disembarking on Egghead." And they're like, "What? The 5 Elders?" And we hear over the loudspeaker, or we hear over, phone signal transmission that Commodores and below aren't even allowed to have an audience with them. And we hear screams from down below as we see, this is a pretty cool shot of the Vega Tank 8 riding.
Crazy shot. Yeah.
Yeah, the clouds and the apocalypse is happening below.
It's like the fires of hell coming up.
Yeah.
Third impact.
Very, very, very much so.
It's like black flames. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Very, very dire. And in the Vega Tank, they say, "Oh, what's that? With that explosion? The 5 Elders. They've come all the way here." And I believe this is Frankie going, "5 whats?" Vegapunk saying, "That's the highest austerity in the world."
Say what?
Frankie. And then, Frankie quotes a now cancelable character by saying, "Say what?" And Vegapunk says, "We've got to get out of here. Hold on tight." So as Vegapunk steps on it, we see we see this pentagram kind of up close, and it sort of looks like something from Persona 5 more than anything.
Is it all the 5s on it?
Yeah, it's got all the 5. It's got all the 5s on it.
All 5 pieces of Exodia.
It's Person 5.
Detail.
That's
what
right.
it is. Yeah.
So we see a dark figure sort of emerge from the middle. And
I didn't see that until just now. I don't know why I didn't put that.
And Sanji, Sanji says something's coming out of that circle. But I first I read it as him in the 4Kids voice because I just wanted to hear him say "Soikle." Something's coming out of that Soikle.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Why do you do this to me, Alex? Joey.
And then on the next page, we cut to some Marines who are like, "What? What is this? What is that monster?" And the one behind him is saying, "Don't say that. I have a feeling that's..." And before he can finish his sentence, we get this close-up shot in shadow, but we know who this is. But his eye gloopy glows in a mysterious way, and a pretty brutal shot to the head of some sort to this Marine as he goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna recover.
There's a lot of
that.
black ink being spilled here.
If that were the live action, that person's head would be rolling somewhere else right now.
And then we see this incredible, menacing figure of, through the distorted lettering, I can read that this is Saint Jaygarcia Saturn, the highest authority in the world. 5 elders, Godhead of Science and Defense. Cue the new metal music playing.
So wait, go ahead.
Oh, just so he's got this amazing look. He looks like a kind of like expanded version of himself with big ox horns and the flaming halo behind him that tends to be the like Zoan, whatever you call it, the like ascended Zoan thing. Yeah. And some creepy looking spider legs underneath. And he's saying, the surface, it has been such a long time. And what I believe he is modeled after is a yokai called the Gyuki or Ushi Oni, which both of those just mean like ox demon or cow demon. Mm-hmm. And, when we talk about yokai, a lot of times we talk about these kind of like funny yokais that play tricks or might kind of creep you out if you see them in the forest. Even the kind of like snake necked woman or something like that is just sort of something that makes you feel a little creepy. But the Gyuki is like serious
Mizuki
business.
Style. The Shigeru Mizuki style ones are the heartwarming ones, kind of.
Mm-hmm. But even in Shigeru Mizuki's stories, once you get to Gyuki, it's like serious business, where like it's a very threatening monster that like straight up kills people. In some versions of the story, it like breathes poison gas. And they're usually found on beaches, which is interesting. It has a kind of like oceany vibe to it as well. But very, very menacing, very scary yokai that I think, is modeled after.
I think that's conveyed. I mean, not just because of the pentagram and the fact that he is a 5 elder, but or arachnophobia or whatever. I think it's conveyed.
It's also
sorry.
What you're saying is that he's transformed from Jerry Garcia to Jimmy Buffett, since he likes the beach so much.
Beachy, and he's very otherworldly.
I was going to say, too, that there's some interesting kind of interpretations of his line, the surface, that has been such a long time, because you could read that as, you could read that as like, oh, well, he's been on a ship for the last couple days, so now he's standing on the surface. You could possibly interpret it as, he's been in Mary Joa for so long that now he's like on the lower world. But also, of course, coming up out of the ground as a demon, it also makes you think of like, I've been in hell this whole time and, free at last sort of thing. So there's some interesting sort of parallels there. And
Brandon, we have you on, so I'd be remiss if, did you want to mention anything about the lettering? I know it was not anyone at Viz. It was the original, right, Stephen?
Yeah, that's the text in the chapter in Japanese.
Yeah, which I think is the tricky thing, because like sometimes like the intro text things, sometimes I think they have to be changed, but so it's hard for me to tell like which parts are from the original Japanese and which parts are lettered in English. Also, especially since they have like so many fancy effects on them and stuff lately.
If we had Vanessa, she'd probably be able to tell us some of the things, because sometimes, it is true that especially in the last couple years, Oda and his editor, or whoever is helping kind of do the typesetting, they like to go with these crazy fonts for some of the introduction stuff here, and usually
there's not a lot of room.
Yeah, not in this one. And usually we'll leave them as is, but sometimes, it's like it's not our spelling of a name or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you for sure offhand if they're able to get the font information from the files themselves, so that they don't have to do any actual graphical retouch, or if they've had to redo or like pick a sort of similar font when it's necessary to adjust something or not. But yeah, it's part of the particular challenges of working on One Piece, I guess. Yep. It's just having to be able to to deal with these weird fonts sometimes.
Yeah, that's sort of the funny thing. It's like sometimes the things that you think would just be like, oh yeah, this will be a part of the file, and like, you know, it'll be on its own separate layer, and they'll give us the font or whatever. But like the things that you would expect to be that way are also just like, maybe it's just like hard baked into the art, and you have to like manually erase it and retouch it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's I want to say like a 50-50 shot sometimes, but I feel like it's more like 70 to 80% of the time it's flattened.
We've talked about this, I think, a bunch at this point, but I don't like the new experimentation. I don't know if it's Oda or the assistants doing it or what. It's just not a fan.
They're real
yeah,
funky.
it has a like wild energy that I admire, but I think
I see what they're trying to do, but I think it goes a little too far. Or
yeah,
the thing that really wigs me out about this one, besides just all the distortion and stuff, is the kind of like elevated lowercase g.
Yeah, the mixed case
for Garcia. Yeah. That makes it a little hard to read.
Yeah, I almost like read it as a 6 for some reason.
Right.
9?
666.
Or 9.
Or 9.
Yeah.
It's Saint J9 Arcia.
Yeah.
Well, oh, he's a narc.
This is confirmation that
Chronicles
he's J
of
as in
Narcia.
Jay, like Homer J. Simpson.
Yeah, that's right. So my quick thought on this as a graphic designer is that it's really bad practice in text to squish it. Usually when you want to do text and stuff, you want to keep it at 100%. If you're going to squish it, do something with the kerning rather than like physically transforming the letters. But that's
that was sort of my hint that this was probably from the Japanese side.
more than likely.
Do some sort of weird stretchy thing with the text, or
Yeah, I don't think
if
Vanessa would.
if I have to do that, it's usually like to cover up something I don't want to retouch. And just the placement of the text and all of that, and just like you're putting all of this in such a tiny, like squeezed little space that it.
Yeah. Actually on that note too, in the Japanese, you don't even actually fully see it because the gray text here, which we have up at the top, that's superimposed over the text.
Yep.
So
I forgot they're used kind of like as background.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is even
It's in
weirder.
English, isn't that cool?
That's
They
right.
So it's not even
see
really meant to be
English like
read.
we see Japanese,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah,
Look at this tattoo I got. It says Saint Jaygarcia Saturn. That's a 9 you have there instead of a G. You might want to fix that.
I would love somebody to get a tattoo that just says Saint Jaygarcia Saturn.
in this font.
In that font.
Yeah.
The shorthand is just that it is an aesthetic thing for the Japanese. That's where it comes from originally, and so it is a little bit weird that we kind of have to deal with that, but it's not that bad, I guess.
Like these haven't gotten a volume yet, right? I think the new font thing, you still have a chance to change it if you want. I know it's not up to you, Stephen.
Well, this chapter, sure, but I mean, he's been doing that for a couple years now, so.
I think it's only been since Wano, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, almost all of Wano
That was a
is in
year.
volume now.
Yeah, but okay.
All in print.
Anyway, where were we here?
Okay,
Joey.
so at the top of the next page, Bonnie is saying, "What is that horrible thing? Up above, watch out!" Sanji calls out, and we see that the Vega tank has broken through, has fallen through the clouds because a beam of light has punctured the clouds that they were riding on, and we see that it was Kizaru saying, "Oops, so close." But coming up behind Kizaru is none other than Monkey D. Luffy himself, who inflates his muscles, getting real big here, getting real swole, saying, "Stop right there, Kizaru." Kizaru notes that he must be reaching his limit by now, and we see Frankie calling out to Luffy, asking him to please do something.
Ed.
Yes. So Luffy, Kizaru starts his attack, and Luffy comes in with he tries to come in with an attack, and Kizaru sort of spins him around with a beam, and he whips around, but he still unleashes a star gun. He makes like in the cartoon, he makes stars appear above Kizaru's head by punching through it. like it's made out of rubber. And Kizaru says, "I'm seeing stars." And
that line I like.
It's full of stars.
My head is
thoughts.
My head is full of stars. Yeah.
And Luffy kind of looking like Act Tonight or something here. That's my limit. He's falling out of the air there.
I love the hell out of that face. That is so horrific.
Yeah, that's my limit.
He's trying to do the driving crooner.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're messing it up.
But Saint Jaygarcia Saturn recognizes this is Ika. And yep, we get a big explosion up in the sky, and I guess Kizaru goes flying through a building. And
you see Luffy coming down
crashes,
there, spiraling.
Yeah.
Right next to Saturn. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And also the Vega tank also goes flying.
You know, at the top of this set of pages is when Walter White would be in the car and he's going, Luffy, he's making the circle below the waist. Don't look at it.
back to back manga recaps making that reference.
God.
That won't date this.
I love the cartoony stars in the star gun.
Straight out of Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of where did those come from? Is there supposed to be some is there supposed to be some explanation, or is it just
he hit him so hard that stars came out? What's so hard for that?
Of his head.
What's so hard about that for you to understand?
It's star space, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It makes perfect sense to me. We're reading a comic.
Brandon, why don't you wrap us up here?
Yeah. So amidst the rubble of the Vega Tank 8, you get this awesome spread with Frankie's checking in on Dr. Vegapunk, Sanji asking Atlas if she's hurt, all while Saturn is just looming over them all, and it is just an incredible spread. And then you see Vegapunk acknowledging Saint Saturn, and then Garcia saying, "Indeed, I thought we'd already killed you, Vegapunk." And then you get Bonnie here, who's sort of I think kind of flashing back.
She's having memories of someone else's memories.
Memories of somebody else's conversation. Which
now
I
that's
assume,
Inception.
I'm going to assume that this is probably.
I think it's Saturn. Talking to Vegapunk.
Saturn talking to Vegapunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I gave you an order, and then this is Bonnie kind of grabbing a sword and going in for it. And as she's
where did she get that sword, by the way?
It was just on the ground.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the Marines or something.
It's the rubble. But I guess the conversation that they were having, he must not have any will left, talking about Kuma, and it seems but that'll mean Kuma is Vegapunk had some sort of reservations about doing what he did. Then there's make sure he doesn't have any will left. But thinking about that clearly, and Bonnie seeing that she had an opportunity, goes straight for the stab. Stabs Jaygarcia in the beard.
Oh, the beard. That
beard's probably pretty defensive, I was going to say. Some thick armor.
We can kind of see how big he is, too, with those hands. He really towers over everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even notice his hands had those little claw things at the end of them in the previous panels. But yeah. Creepy. Yeah,
and then the chapter ends with that close up of Saturn and Bonnie just in tears. This is so clearly what had ever happened. He was probably involved with, or what I'm wondering is if she recognized him at this point, in the.
No, I think she just heard Vegapunk say it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's oh crap, that's Saturn.
Didn't Bonnie watch a bunch of memories?
No, yeah, but she didn't know what that horrifying thing was when,
right.
when she says, what is that horrible thing? Yeah. And to be fair, I doubt Vegapunk... Well, maybe Vegapunk saw him in this mode once before because he seems to recognize him pretty quick.
Yeah, that's true.
It's oh, Spider Guy, I know you. There's a lot to unpack. But the most surprising thing about this chapter is that there's another chapter next week. That's probably,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My favorite bi-weekly manga.
I was gonna say, I think I said this last time, but we've only had like around 20 something chapters this year, and we're in October, so that's pretty nuts. Let's start. Brandon, what did you think of the chapter?
It was a lot. I was definitely thinking about. There are a lot of implications from the reveal that Saturn is a Gyuki. And my mind went in all sorts of directions. Like, okay, so are the other elders, also based on yokai, or sort of wondering where things will go with that. But yeah, it's a great chapter.
Joey.
Yeah, regarding what the other elders might be based on, I'm kind of anticipating them being based on other kind of like demonic, scary, mythical figures from around the world, just because I think it just feels a little too like closed in for them to all be yokai, but who knows? A few of us were talking about this on our private Discord, and I had to eventually just be like, man, remember when we were all wondering what other like classic rock musicians the rest of the elders were going to be named after? And
good point.
So I think it's just kind of like, you never know what Oda's going to pull out.
So are you saying we could have a kaiju version of or a Godzilla?
Maybe. I'm thinking more like internationally, like not just
that's pretty international.
Creatures.
Well, like the Baba
Yaga,
Yaga.
like Gorgo, the British kaiju.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think this is a really great chapter. I think it was the kind of thing that was like exciting to read, and then afterwards I just kept thinking about it.
Yeah.
And kept thinking about more stuff to talk about with this chapter. So the whole yokai thing it was exciting to see Saturn's power and to be able to tie it to something that's an interest of mine was very fun. A thing I like about his design that we haven't mentioned is that he always has the two kind of blobs of hair on either side of his face that look like little cow ears, which I think is cute.
Yeah, cute. And that's the word for it.
Yeah. That's what I love about One Piece. He's a mixture of cute and terrifying.
Wait, Joey, those like the stuffed things that they've been making for every single One Piece characters that look like giant sausages or something? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the little stackable
guys.
guys.
Yeah, the stackables. Yeah, those. They need to make those for the five elders, I think.
Yeah, once we get all of their powers revealed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would, those would be the ones.
It's more likely than you think.
Those would be the ones I bought.
But Joey, you're saying, it is possible that, some more of the five elders could be based off of these Japanese demons, but we don't know for sure at the moment. So you could say, as of now, we're on yokai watch.
Oh, we're on yokai watch.
You stole my joke, Steve.
Jibanyan is out there meowing.
Joey's
I don't know a whole lot about.
Joey, you're on yokai watch 24/7, just in life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're out there.
No, it's always good to be aware of your surroundings when it comes to it.
An interesting thing I saw someone bring up out there in the internet land regarding the pentagrams is that there was a sort of similar ritual being made by the cultists trying to summon a demon that eventually
the ones we voiced.
Brooke landed on.
Yes,
we voiced that cult. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We have to offer him more. But a thing that I think is interesting, and people are of course being like, well, that's a 6-pointed star, and this is a 5-pointed star. I think
doing
that
it wrong.
is kind of like
maybe that's why they didn't matter.
Yeah,
that's why yours never worked.
But yeah, exactly. But I think it's cool that it kind of implies that whatever is up with that pentagram, I don't think that's related to his power at all. I don't think that really relates to the Gyuki, and if he isn't actually a Gyuki and he's something like Oda likes to do where he's just a spider that he could kind of actually accidentally also look like this yokai, that also doesn't really seem like it would relate to that. So I think that the pentagrams, I'm at least feeling at this moment the pentagrams are related to something not devil fruit related that has something to do with the five elders and stuff that they can do or connections that they have to the other horned creatures throughout the world, like the Oni race or whatever. There's a lot of like possibilities that can go in some crazy directions if Oda chooses to. But the fact that this sort of like exists as an idea in this world, and that there were these cultists trying to summon whatever it is that the Five Elders might be related to, is interesting to me and is fun if that ends up kind of panning out.
I'll say, I don't know if it was Sai in our Discord or someone else mentions in chapter 233 where we're first introduced to the Five Elders. There are symbols all around the hall. There's a name for it now.
The Chamber of Power.
Chamber of Power. You have to say it like that. But they're not pentagrams. I mean, I'll show you guys.
They look like more involved, just like sort of magical circle symbols.
But they are prominent. I mean, like a seal or like something you see in Full Metal Alchemist or something. It does.
Yeah, this sort of occult. Like that's a way that a lot of like Japanese like manga and stuff kind of associate with kind of like Western occult religion type stuff. Like think of Neon Genesis Evangelion, for instance, or you see kind of symbols like that. Or Akuma-kun, which is another Shigeru Mizuki series. There's kind of his chance to do stuff with stuff other than yokai, are all kind of like European and international spooky creatures and stuff. Like that has like that kind of summoning circle all over it and stuff like that. So I think it just kind of is supposed to evoke that kind of like mysticism and dark arts.
But you know what's interesting? So I'm looking now. I pulled out both of the volumes you were talking about, Joey. So chapter 524, where we have to offer them more. That actually looks way closer to what was on the wall of the Celestial Dragons than it does a pentagram.
Interesting.
Obviously, you can't see the whole thing since there's a giant paw print in front of it. Someone messed that up. I don't know. Someone should get fired for that blunder. But yeah, it's I wonder. I'll talk about it more when I get there. Anything else, Joey?
Okay. One last note. All this Saturn stuff is very exciting, but I do feel it is a distraction from the most important part of this chapter, that there was an Otterman. We don't know anything about this Otterman, but we need to know more.
He's got a shell hammer.
He has a shell hammer. This is very important also. And yeah, I love everything about him. Can't wait to find out more.
This neither surprises me nor disappoints me. That is correct. Alex, what about you?
Great chapter. Ditto about, like, I don't know, the pentagram. I think the fives that are just adorning it are maybe a dead giveaway as to, like, all five of the elders have this power.
Yeah.
Luffy's attack was awesome. I really love how he can just body somebody like Kizaru, and these little cartoonish stars will come out. It's so great. I love this comic. And I was thinking, like, a lot of people were, I guess, worried that Luffy was going to be, like, too powerful now at this point in the series, but I think he's going toe to toe with Kizaru and not completely, like, messing him up. So I think, maybe Luffy still has some more growing to do in that department.
Yeah.
Man, Bonnie's powers are cool. I love this near-death experience attack. I love that Oda's just kind of spent time figuring out, like, okay, what interesting thing can I do with these powers that hasn't been done before? Because I know Bonnie's powers are similar to what was her name? Ayn in films. Film set
in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Just really, really funky powers. I love that. And the Otterman, very cool. Love the clam spear, but no lobster harmonica. I'll never get that lobster harmonica.
There's still time.
Yep.
Anything else, Alex?
No, that's it. I cede my time to others.
Steve, your time has been given. granted.
This really felt like a jam-packed chapter this week. There's lots of action. I think like the biggest thing, I guess, coming out of it is Jaygarcia's form here, which is really creepy. He's got those little spider legs. I mean, with like Black Maria, it was fine, but then with this guy, I'm disturbed.
No, it was also creepy with Black Maria.
He's got legs like they look like the Insanity Peppers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm like, what does this remind me of? I realized, I'm like, oh, he reminds me of like one of the bad guys from Monsters Inc., the guy that runs like the company.
He's a good guy, right? Is he bad?
When's the last time you seen Monsters Inc.?
Pretty recently, actually.
No CEO could be evil.
Yeah,
he's the one that like I could see Jaygarcia saying something like, "It's like I'll destroy 1,000 countries before I let this government die."
Well, what?
Like,
then what?
He
if
might say that.
Well, what if the rest of the 5 elders are just Monsters Inc. monsters then? At that point,
one of them Sully, one of them turns into Mike Wazowski. Another one turns into Steve Buscemi.
Somehow has Billy Crystal's voice style.
Steve Buscemi, but like not the monster, the person.
Hey, I'm Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi.
That's Sanji. Sanji already has that.
Steve Buscemi.
I enjoyed a lot of the action here. Like, a lot of Bonnie focus here. Like, I like how Bonnie has her hood up, like she's Luke in Return of the Jedi. So it's like, oh, she's learned so much now.
Well, she was undercover, I think. Like, she was trying not to.
Everyone knows it's Bonnie.
No, when all the pacifistas were attacking, she was like trying not to be obvious. At that point, I thought that's why there was a hood. If
you say so. It seems like these Marines could distinguish her, But
I didn't say it was a good disguise.
Okay, Zach. Okay, Zach. But other than that, like I think I really enjoyed like the Bonnie stuff and the Saturn stuff this week. Like Bonnie like really got a lot of shine, and she has like a lot of really cool and dynamic action panels here. And I know some of them are of her butt, but no, some like really cool poses here too. It's great. I really hope we get this Kuma backstory soon. I can only hope here. But other than that, I don't know if there's anything else I really want to point out here. Nah, you've heard a lot of my opinions throughout this recap. It's really good, and I'm glad. I'm really glad we're getting another chapter next week.
I would say I feel like a lot of times the flashbacks happen and interrupt like a peak of the excitement, and I feel like we're getting there, and it actually seems like we're getting more hints of what happened. I wouldn't be surprised if it was happening kind of soon. Steven.
This is a really exciting chapter. I think we talked about the previous one when it was mostly Luffy versus Kizaru, and they were just kind of, it was a skirmish really. Nothing very conclusive about it. I felt like we were, that was getting us over to like the more important scenes. And I felt like this chapter really followed up on that, as far as making things really, really tense and very exciting. I agree. It's, what Steve was just saying about Bonnie. She really does, although it's kind of easy to overlook just with the craziness of seeing like Saturn's full form. She does get a lot of good stuff. We still have to deal with her like her weakness to just seeing a pacifista and being reminded of her dad, which, given what we now suspect about her true age, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. But it does mean, we have to kind of do a stereotypical, like Sanji has to come in and like princess carry her out of the scene. But she does get, between the near-death experience and the scene at the end, she gets some really cool moments. And definitely a kill shot on Saturn. He got stabbed in the beard. Nobody comes back from that.
No.
He's toast.
Yeah.
To be fair, in a normal human being, if you do get stabbed in the beard, you would die.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much through your throat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. And I'm not sure. I'm not 100% positive if that is her remembering a scene that, you know, maybe she was like hiding or something and overheard, kind of like similar to when Momonosuke had all those like memories of Doflamingo and stuff. Or if that was more of a like sort of artistic juxtaposition of, you know, this is the relationship between Saturn and Vegapunk that is kind of the really important point at this moment is what happened between them and Kuma, and maybe she wasn't there, maybe she was, I don't know, but you know, it definitely sets up that the confrontation and her motivation for that moment, seeing, you know, basically the guy who's really responsible for what happened to her father. So that's cool. I think my take on the like, you know, the pentagram and the demons and stuff is I wouldn't be too surprised if the five elders, if they are all like, you know, let's say like some, you know, just off the top of my head, like the evil fruit mythical type, you know, yada yada, where they're all like the same, they're all classified as demons, and so maybe they can all do this sort of thing, or maybe that's just so
Saturn. Then did they become evil when they ate the fruit, or were they always evil?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my preference, of course, is that they're not just like demons, like demons from actual hell that are unilaterally evil. I would like a more you know, nuanced depiction than that. I guess this does kind of RIP my hopes for the five elders just being a bunch of old dudes that don't fight. But
that's what I was.
You know, I just have to get used to it. Yeah. And hey, like I think his look is truly diabolical. Looks very menacing and very cool. So I can't complain too much. If there's anything else, and I love the you know, with Gear 5, I do feel like it was such a stunning reveal when we first saw it, and it felt like, oh, you know, the sky's the limit. Luffy can do anything, and obviously that's not going to be the case because there still need to be stakes and stuff. But I do feel like we were starting to get to the point where it was like, okay, I feel like we've kind of seen. It feels like it's starting to become old hat a little, and I like that Oda still is able to pull out, you know, stuff like hitting a guy in the head and giving him stars. I think that sort of stuff is really fun, and that's, I think, how he will need to kind of keep that the hijinks of Gear 5 fresh and fun, because you know, it would be a shame if it started becoming kind of boring. And so I feel like the more he can liven it up with fun new things like this, the better.
Steven, do you have any translation notes for this chapter that are particularly interesting?
That we haven't gone through.
Yeah. Like Stargun? Is Stargun like straight up katakana?
Yes. I think maybe he had kanji to go with it too. I did I did paraphrase, so I think Kizaru's response to that was like like a more straightforward translation would just be like, uh-oh, or like, this isn't good. But I was like, okay, I mean, I gotta have him say he's seeing stars here, because it's not even like, that isn't even really a phrase in Japanese. So I feel like this is literally, Oda is just like cribbing straight from you know, American cartoons to do this effect. And so I felt like, you know, that'd be kind of fun to have him say that.
It needed, that's nice and punchy. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really exciting about Gear 5 is it's not just what Luffy can do, but the fact that he pulls others into his cartoon world too. Mm-hmm. And it starts to make them kind of have those same effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I also like how it's not that he is invulnerable because of it, but he is when he is hurt or when he is hit by something, it is in the most cartoonish way possible. Yeah. Like he often, this fight I think is a good example where he's often on the ropes, but when he is, it's funny, which was kind of the, I think, original intent of the rubber power as far as Oda wrote it. And I think the reason we all really like Gear 5 so much is it just kind of felt like the natural, no pun intended, extension of that power. Like this is still rubbery, but in a extremely cartoony way.
And Kizaru has like used his powers in ways that Luffy cannot, like he, zipping around, like zooming off at the speed of light and forcing Luffy to like try to catch up with him. They've done that a couple times now, and so I feel like that's smart writing on Oda's part to kind of have other people not maybe point out his weaknesses, but like have their own strengths still be valid to not Luffy's not just all powerful in this form.
Yeah.
And Kizaru is not trying to be Luffy. Kizaru is trying to murder Vegapunk.
That's true. Yeah.
And obviously is failing at that at the moment. Ed, did you? I don't think you've went yet, right?
No, I haven't gone yet. This chapter has a great sense of escalating tension because in the past we've seen that Kizaru is far too much of a match for Straw Hat. Now that Luffy has Gear 5, you're fighting on sort of an equal ground. But now an entirely new class of danger has showed up, and Kizaru gets knocked into a building. So, the fact that Luffy has lost his Gear 5 powers as of right now is sort of... It's a complication because Kizaru has sort of been taken out briefly. I mean, we're not exactly sure when he's going to show up again after he got hit like that. But... they're sort of helpless at the moment if Luffy has lost his powers and he can't get back to Gear 5 in time to sort of rescue everybody. So, I mean, I guess there's the implication of like the Egghead incident, if there's an even bigger incident that's coming beyond what's already happened. But something ridiculous is about to happen because Luffy can't prevent Jaygarcia Saturn from doing what he's about to do. So... Either that or him getting stabbed is actually much more harmful than it would seem. For someone as powerful as him to be sort of taken out by a single stab from a sword would be strange. But this chapter had a great sense of tension and forward momentum. I think everyone was sort of performing at a top level here, and even if Bonnie was sort of distracted by people are talking about Sanji had to save Bonnie, but I think the fact is that it's not playing fair to have these robots that look like her father. I think that's sort of the point. Like even somebody who's strong would be distracted by that by attacking their family. It happened to Luffy.
I think part of it also is that Bonnie is not like a physical character. She's more of like if we're gonna do D&D. Like D&D archetypes, more of a rogue, like kind of a hit and run type moveset. Like she's scrappy and is stealthy, but I think that, I think if she were to get hit like full on by an attack, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be fair, I guess. Also, Sanji's like a fucking monster, so that's another.
But there's Bonnie was great in this chapter. I loved the near death experience as well, Alex. And it's interesting that the Otterman is actually more interesting. I don't know. I feel like he could end up being, I don't know, very. he could be a cult character. I think if we get
like Hamlet.
Yeah, if we get to see more of him.
Let's get him to the top of the WT 100.
Well, speaking of him, I don't think we've talked about Bluegrass like hardly at all. And,
right.
And I think like. Could there be implications of Bluegrass possibly taking over Jaygarcia? Like, could that happen?
I mean, I thought it was very appropriate that we were introduced to a character named Bluegrass in the Jaygarcia chapter of the manga.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ed? Yeah.
Some great imagery here. I love the summoning circle and Jaygarcia's form is just. It really is. It's a new class of danger, and I'm here for it. So it's something that Luffy's going to have to either get up to Gear 5 or something's going to have to intervene. Maybe that giant robot can show up. We'll see. But other than that, I don't know. It was a very exciting chapter. Very, very good. Very good forward momentum.
The first thing I want to mention that I don't think has been mentioned is that it is interesting that Saturn calls Luffy Nika specifically, not Joy Boy, not Luffy, not Emperor, not or whatever.
Well, maybe he was around the last time. You know.
Well,
maybe
that's
immortal.
That's why I'm bringing it up, because it's particularly interesting here.
I will say, not to play devil's advocate.
Devil's fruit advocate.
But
no,
it could also be one of those things that Oda sometimes does, where like he has a name for something, and then he eventually gives you like the official name of like the character or the person, not their nickname or whatever, and then he just kind of phases out the old one. Like that we had this Joy Boy, we didn't know what Joy Boy was all about, and then we find out that like the actual name is Nika, and then maybe we'll just stop hearing Joy Boy as much. I don't know. That's a possibility.
I don't think, given how big Joy Boy was at the end of Wano with Zunisha,
and also in Fishman Island,
the same person. Yeah, and at Fishman Island, it was on the Poneglyph. Mm-hmm. I'd be surprised if they phased that out. We don't know if Nika and Joy Boy were the same person, or whether Nika was something that preceded Joy Boy. Like to me, it is, or if Joy Boy is like the moniker. It just wasn't interesting.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Who knows?
How many Nikas have there been anyway?
Space Cowboy. Some people call him.
There's Nika or Nika 2. Oh no, that's Yonka. Anyway, this chapter was dense. I agree with Joey. This is one of those chapters I was thinking about all day after. Those are my favorite type of One Piece chapters, I'll just say. For everything from there's not a page that I think is wasted in this chapter. They're all fantastic. Even the reaction shots I think are stellar. We even talk about like the soldier hiding behind the rubble, or the Otterman, which we could talk about for a lot longer, but we already did. Everything is just I don't think there's a wasted panel here. I forget if it was Steven or Greg on the SGS, I think, saying that it does, or maybe it was in the last manga recap, but it feels like some of these chapters could have 2-page spreads, but Oda's trying to get through it, and so they are condensed to half-page spreads or something. This entire chapter felt like that. Like, I felt like almost every page here could have been its own 2-page spread. The ones, though, I'm a little upset about not being a 2-page spread in particular is that scene of there's a couple, the Vega Tank 8 coming down the Cloud Road. I think easily could have been, if not, not a full page, but something that seeped through the pages. Obviously the introduction of Saturn, we talked about how they squeezed the text in so tight. I feel like we've been getting this has been kind of a thing in the works for a very long time, and it only is half a page, 3/4 of a page. The Star Gun could have been a part of a 2-page. So to get one at the end, I was at least happy. But I'm noticing that more. It's like we're a glutton for choice here. We have too much good stuff in this chapter is the problem. But
I'm surprised that the Jaygarcia Saturn reveal wasn't the last page spread.
Yeah.
That like if this were like Oda like 15 years ago, that definitely would have been the case, I think.
I think this is, we used to talk about it with the Blackbeard Pirates, that feeling of dread. This is the most dread I felt in One Piece in a very long time. There have definitely been a lot of moments where I felt that, but good on Oda for being able to do that with Gear 5 Luffy. Like, I feel like even if Gear 5 Luffy were in full form, I would still be feeling a lot of dread from this moment. The pentagram, I think, adds a whole new level of it, and I could talk about that for a really long time. I've been thinking a lot about the stuff in Skypiea with gods, the stuff with Brook about dying, and we talk about the Satan worshippers and all that. It's the concept, and I think you guys talked about this in the SGS as well, but the concept of an underworld or of an afterlife in One Piece is there. And I wonder how much the Five Elders tie into it, or whether this is just a devil fruit, or, you know, and, or like how the pentagram, for the Five Elders kind of goes into the whole thing. I'm super curious about the whole, how did he get from the ship? How did he do all of that? Yeah, I'm curious. I have no answers, just lots of questions, which is good considering we are also getting answers. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Any final thoughts?
Did he blow that Marine's head up like
Yes.
scanners?
No,
Yeah,
He's dead.
Like scanners, yeah.
Yeah, it's unclear. His eye glows, and then the guy's head is like exploded. So, yeah.
I didn't know if
I
it like
mean-
completely exploded or if it went through his head and we're just seeing the bullet come out the other side with the.
What bullet? Like,
What
Not
bullet?
bullet,
Like,
but
did
whatever
he shoot him
it
with a
is.
gun?
You know, it says
Yeah,
crack. The sound effect is crack.
yeah.
So, not to get too gory here, but it may have just been like an egg, like an egghead.
Yes.
I like-
They could have some sort of like advanced form of the like those 5 forms, like shave and bullet and all that
Ooh.
stuff. That's like
That's interesting.
transport from place to place.
Mind
shoot
bullet.
Eye pistol.
mind bullets.
It's
You know, we never
telekinesis,
really got
Alex.
we never really got a
Yeah.
real world explanation for. Did we for how the 6 powers work?
Hockey.
Just training.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Martial
I mean,
arts.
hockey.
training.
Well, it definitely requires hockey.
Well, we talked about how Oda, even the magical things, usually have some sort of explanation in quote unquote reality, and the reality of the One Piece world. And so I'd be surprised if at the end of the day we don't get an explanation for hockey in some form or fashion, or at least how it came about, or like why it exists in the world. Same for this, and that's a very good theory, Joey. I like that.
I also have a question that might be just answered next week because we'll see. But is Jaygarcia's fruit a bull or cow or a spider?
Or its own thing.
Mythical model. Yeah, but I like the idea of demon. But generally, these have like the Zoan types have usually sort of followed some sort of
Category, yeah.
Yeah, so I do wonder about that. Just for
You reminded me of one
sake.
more thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
The we talked about the god. What do you call it, Stephen? The thing in the back, the cloud thing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how Lucci, the only ones we've seen, are Kaido. I think had one. Lucci, Saturn
Kaku.
here, and Kaku had one.
Kaku had one too. Yeah,
Okay.
And
Was
Luffy.
it black or white for Kaku?
it was black.
That's
So it's been
'cause they're
black
bad
for
guys.
everyone's, because I was gonna say, is it like a bad guy, good guy thing? The dark versus light, whatever. Because Luffy's is the only one we've seen that is not. We actually don't know the color of them. To be fair, they could be purple, because we haven't gotten there in the anime yet. But no, it's just I just found it interesting that there seems to be that the thing that all Lost fans thought was a plot device early on, and didn't. Well, I guess it did. I don't know.
The smoke monster? Are you saying the smoke monster?
No,
is...
they. I was a really big Lost fan, reading all the message boards and stuff, and everyone was convinced that it was like the black versus white because Locke held up the 2 pieces of Go or whatever game he was playing. Anyway, we're way off base here. Why don't we call that a day with the manga recap and move on into the next segment?
All right.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then decide whether to play them on the Jaygarcia Saturn, or I should have come up with a second one for this, the Jaygarcia Dreamcast. the right answer, right?
Nice.
I had the Jaygarcia Master System growing up. Let's start with Ed.
Jaygarcia does what say Nintendo don't. I don't know.
What Nustro don't. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
There it is.
Nustro don't.
Workury is my favorite character in those Nintendo. Whatever. Ed, what's the first segment here?
Zach, that is this piece.
And Alex is going to be doing. I am not looking at them, so I'm going to be surprised by all of these.
Great. We have a bunch. Better Clams.
By Discord, by the way. Discord questions, comments.
That's right. Better Clams, who I believe made a brief appearance, being held onto by Vice Admiral Otterman, this chapter, said, "Hey OPP Dachi, I'm looking forward to seeing the Egghead Island arc in the anime because I'll get to see the butt shots of the female characters on a bigger screen. P.S. Don't forget to proofread the piece together questions before reading them out loud. This piece is full of perverts."
Wow.
Well, you got me.
Wow.
And Steven a little bit, I think.
That was good.
And me also.
Well, now we
You know,
start
all
the
of us.
SBS. That's the
Yeah, that's now.
Great.
Let's start the. Yeah.
Rideverse Eyed Patch says, "Wow, OPP, this sure was a feast for new devil fruits. I especially want to talk about the cool new but not yet named Zoan yielded by a government bigwig. That's right, that as of yet unnamed Vice Admiral with the as of yet unnamed Otter Fruit and Shell Spear.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Vice Admiral
These are
Otterman.
our fans.
Yeah.
These are our fans.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got the straight up otter fruit, or is it a model of some sort of mustelid class? Do you think
This
he's
is a. Oh, sorry. Go on.
There's more. Do you think he's pissed that Nero already grabbed the title of Sea Weasel? Does he hold the hands of his fellow Marines so that he doesn't sink like an anchor? Is he going to have an attack using Spraint, the distance dung that smells like freshly mowed grass? I need to know about this guy. And I guess Jaygarcia is cool too. Whatever.
Yeah.
Joey,
how is this guy
is
supposed
all
to like
you.
float on his back? And,
Yeah.
You know. I guess he's got like a waterbed. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe
he's
that's like
on a pool float.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
he hasn't thrown stones at anybody. They carry stones with them.
I think it'd be great if he had like a little backpack that was made out of extra floaty wood, so he could just float on his back.
the extra floaty wood.
That's what's
I
under
forgot
his
about
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wears a life preserver jacket, like the kind from the airplane where you could like blow into it and it expands.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah. Otters know.
Yeah, Reverse Eye Patch definitely knows a lot about otters. Congrats. Mallory says, "Hey OPP, this chapter had a ton going on, so I thought I'd add something totally unrelated. How do you think Shanks is going to fit into the end of the story? With everything seeming to head towards a clash with Blackbeard or the world government, will we run into Shanks before all of that final saga stuff, or will it be after the crew has beaten the big bads? I can't really see Luffy and Shanks straight up punching each other, so what would you want the fight to look like? If it is a fight and not just a bro handshake or something."
I like how we have like the densest chapter in forever. It's like, let's talk about Shanks.
I don't
You know,
know. Do you think he's going to actually return the hat to him?
He's like, "No,
Yeah.
it's mine."
Yeah.
I think he'll say you could keep it and give it to the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, if there's one thing I haven't told you, it's that there's so many of these hats. There used to be
There's
a really
giant
big
one. There's a giant one somewhere. I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like a fight between them is inevitable. Like, I feel like it could go a lot of different ways.
I did think about that though today when I was reading the chapter, just because of Shanks's audience, his brief audience with the five elders, and the fact that they're like, pretty evil.
I think we put the pieces together that he's
right, because he's
yeah.
Possibly related to a
to Bigwig Celestial Dragon. It looks
yeah.
like what was it? The head of the Holy Knights.
Yeah, Fingerling.
Fingerland. Yeah.
Fingerling potatoes.
By the way, worst name. I understand why Shanks doesn't brag about it beyond probably having a thing with his father, but
I think it would be funny
awful.
if Luffy got to Laugh Tale and like got the One Piece, and then Shanks shows up like 10 minutes late, like, all right guys, we made it, and then they have like a Luffy versus Zoro moment where they just snap on each other and and fight over it.
It should have been that Shanks was too busy partying and like, oh, I lost track of time.
Yeah, I guess.
Seeing Shanks in the live action again reminds me that he, despite being the powerhouse that he clearly is, he is still kind of, derpy, I guess. I don't know the word.
He's a party dude.
Yeah, he's a bro. He's not really thinking about,
I really
everything.
hope the family name is named Fingerland because they invented the chicken finger, and Shanks is part of the chicken finger dynasty. Yeah, he's a nepo baby I could get behind because I love me a chicken finger.
Is he related to Colonel Sanders?
He's finger landing good.
Hey,
I'm writing
Alex,
that down, even though we.
Alex, save that one. We're gonna need that one.
Yeah, we are
saving it one day.
Yeah, like the one we forgot with Garp, the world according to Garp, for years.
Yeah, we'll use it.
We did use it.
Anything else before we move on?
No.
Okay. Felix Cutler says, "Hi OPP. Long time since I asked a question. Saturn seems to be some kind of yokai, so do you guys believe the other four elders are yokai inspired as well, or some demons from other cultures, with Emu being the Western incarnation of a devil? Your thoughts on Kuma saving the Straw Hats yet again and teleporting them away to Elbaf, because I cannot see them getting out of Elbaf. Or maybe getting... Luffy might not be able to continue fighting. Maybe to Elbaf.
So where is the original Kuma anyway?
He's
in Marriage.
He just left Marriage. Yeah. No, he just left Marriage. Yeah. So he is en route somewhere.
Well, one last question here is it time for the ancient robot to make his move? Yes, I've totally forgot that we left off. Was it last chapter or the chapter before?
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, I mentioned the ancient robot,
last.
But yeah, something has to intervene.
Yeah. Because I feel
we've also got the Blackbeards hanging around outside the island too.
That's right. I thought we forgot about
there's
that.
a lot of potential interrupters on their way.
Coitus interruptus. Luffy is also prone right by, giant, scary, sharp spider leg. And this could be like the oh no, Luffy's dead thing coming all over again.
Dead serious about going to Elbaf.
Yeah. If we get another time jump out of this, I'm gonna be a little annoyed because it's people have been talking about this following similar beats to Shabandi, where Jaygarcia I guess is the Kizaru of the arc,
and Kizaru's the Kizaru of the arc. It's this arc has been, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but it's like the reunion tour arc.
Yeah.
But set in a very dire situation. It's interesting, because we have a lot of Ennius Lobby stuff in it. We have a lot of Shaw Buddy stuff in it. We have a lot of Punk Hazard stuff in it.
Yeah, a lot of dangling threads.
So on. A lot of dangling threads in it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Speaking about demons, though, I just searched demons from around the world, and it is quite a list. If Oda wants to do that. He has a lot to choose from. I personally think the devil, as described in most things, is probably the least terrifying of some of those. I think Jaygarcia looks more terrifying than the guy with horns and a tail.
What if Emu's real form is accurate looking angel? It's just a face with
biblically
a
accurate
wings. Yeah, biblically accurate angel. Who knows? I was thinking maybe a Baba Yaga. If we're gonna go Russian, that'd be kind of dope. Or it just turns into John Wick. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be more
want to see that house, house with the chicken legs.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
that'd be so good.
I'm thinking I'm one of the 5 elders.
But no, yes, it's like a house fruit model Baba Yaga.
The mythical house, yeah.
Hopkins Hat says, "Hey OPP, how it be? Man who needs brain tingling ASMR when Luffy can literally punch your brain." Anyway, what do you think the next chapter will be? Kuma's flashback or a battle with the Elder? I don't think there's anything else we can or should cut to right now. Well,
I mean, can is one thing. Should, I think we agree. I think my prediction, which I mean, spoilers are probably already out, but would be that we have a little bit more of this, and then we get into the flashback pretty soon, like in the next few chapters. I've been saying that forever, and I've been wrong most of the time. And by most of the time, I mean all of the time.
Yeah.
But I hope this time I'm right.
Yeah, I guess I'd be surprised to see a full-on like regular battle with Jaygarcia at this point. So
especially with
I'd
Luffy.
say, yeah, we're either going into a flashback or things are looking dire, and then one of these many interrupting factors that we've just listed comes into effect.
Yeah.
Good call.
Professional.
Don't forget the Blackbeard pirates.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh yeah, they're there too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here too. Professional Poyo says, "Hey OPP, good thing Oda remembered it's spoopy season, giving us a big scary Satan spider. Speaking of which, where are the Straw Hats What are the Straw Hats dressing up for Halloween this year? I feel Nami could somehow trick Zoro to go as Ken. Oh, like from Barbie.
And Sanji is not lining up.
No.
Yeah.
So
Sanji's Barbie.
Zoro's going as the Simu Liu Ken, and Sanji's
The
going
hater
as
Ken.
and Sanji's going as the Ryan Gosling Ken.
Yeah,
Just
see,
the rivalry there.
the question was Nami could somehow trick Zoro to go. Like, she doesn't have to trick Sanji to do anything to go as Ken.
No.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
I mean, unless you consider everything she does tricking Sanji, using the manipulation of
Asking.
his idiocy. Yeah.
Sanji can be Alan.
Oh my god, Alan. Alan is my favorite.
Isn't Usopp the most Alan?
Kinda, yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
this answers this question, but now I would love to see someone do a One Piece themed haunted house or like actual.
But
Halloween
Zach,
decorations.
we experienced that at Tokyo Tower, and it
scared the hell out of Alex.
Okay, look, I wasn't expecting it. Therefore, the jump scare worked on me. Or
I just remember because like Maddie like had been through it before
Maddie
because we're
thought-
just going like and Maddie's like no, you gotta throw the salt into the zombie's mouth. It's like just guiding
Yeah.
grown children through this stuff.
honestly, the shark scared me. I think just as much. So
Yeah,
the shark that pops up in the.
I'll
Thousand
never forget the shark
I'll
moment.
never forget the jump scare.
If we're doing Barbie stuff, then I guess that would mean Frankie would have to be Oppenheimer,
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
and who he
Frankenheimer.
obviously canonically he fucks, so that all lines up.
I'd say like wouldn't also Vegapunk be like a good Oppenheimer?
No,
You know?
but
Vegapunk
he's not
has to be
strong.
Albert Einstein.
Oh yeah,
but he
that's
is-
true. What
but
the
he
fuck?
has-
And
am I
Frankie's
thinking?
backstory
Not a-
is
not a
kind of
spot.
Oppenheimer-y. Anyway, what's next?
Yeah.
Alex?
Is there like a band called Manhattan Project or something?
Probably.
There is now.
I was saying, like, I was asked, someone asked me, it's like, have you heard of Manhattan
What instruments
Project?
do you
I'm
guys
like-
play?
And I'm like, I know of the Manhattan Project that led to the atomic bomb being created.
I guess we could. I mean, we could have called this episode OPP-enheimer, I guess.
No. No, we couldn't.
I like Frankenheimer better though.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wisdom Pythagoras says, "Hey OPP, Bluegrass has to be the worst name for an admiral candidate ever. What's next? Purple Nurple? Red Robin? If you had the chance to be an admiral, what would your code name be?"
Ooh.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, this is like the idea that
Oh,
it's like a color and an
And
animal.
color and an animal,
Yeah.
but it's grass.
It's like the Marines telling you should touch grass.
We must have gotten this question years ago, but
I don't know. They just run down the list of all the teams from Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Monkey,
Purple
is that
Parrots, they never win.
Yellow
Silver-
Monkey? Was it Yellow Monkey?
Silverfish?
No.
Was it?
No, Yellow Monkey did
Silver-
one of the themes from Dragon Ball GT, right?
Did they?
Silver. The silver Sarubobos. So,
God,
I don't know, man.
Because I know blue barracudas. Okay, red jaguars, blue barracudas, green monkeys, orange iguanas, purple parrots, and silver snakes.
Silver snakes. That's what it was. You know, mine would just be dumb because I would just want green crocodile. And there's already a character named Crocodile, and one of the admirals already has green as their color. So
How would you say that in Japanese? I don't-
But,
Does that sound, formidable?
Yokuwani.
I don't know.
It sounds pretty good.
That's pretty decent. I like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe mine would be like teal armadillo.
How would you say that, Stephen, on the spot here? Teal armadillo.
I know they just say arumajiro for armadillo. So
I guess then what's the word for teal?
Maybe it's tiru.
Yeah, I'm not
Maybe
sure.
it's all
I'm not sure if they
specific.
have a. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have.
Teal's
a,
usually the color I jump to for favorite color and stuff too. So
Teal. Seafoam,
It's
I
a
guess,
very
would be
intimidating. It's an intimidating color.
teal capybara.
Aw, Joey, that's so cute. I like that.
I'm not trying to steal Otterman's thunder though. So
I was
don't
gonna
worry.
say
All right.
teal.
Anybody have
capybara.
any others, or shall I move
Oh,
on?
yeah,
A few more?
well,
I'd be the purple pachyderm.
Wow.
Oh, good.
by the way,
and then the
when I looked it
translations
up,
would call you purple elephant. Yeah.
Google Translate thinks that that's all transliterated from English to Japanese. Tiru capybara. Sorry for Joey's.
Yeah, that's me.
Zach, this must be the first time you've ever successfully pronounced anything in Japanese.
No. So, yeah, well, actually, yes, probably.
All right.
Greg, there's one thing that Greg was. Whenever I do pronounce something correct in Japanese, Greg has a fault face, as if I've committed a crime or done something unbelievable. Anyway, Alex, what's next?
Yeah, why not both? Sila Karna is worldwide says, "Hey OPP, I broke my ankle last week." I'm sorry to hear that. Looking at a 6-month healing process. I'm thinking of binging old episodes of the podcast. So should I do 1 episode a day or 2 episodes a day? Depends on your endurance.
Yeah, and I guess you're just gonna have them on in the background.
I mean, the earlier episodes were not as long, right? I don't remember.
They've gotten a little. Well,
they've gotten longer.
That's not true. We had some long ones.
I mean, we haven't always done Dis Piece and Reddit and all that. It used to just be Piece the Tweet.
No,
as a listener, I would recommend going back to some of the themed episodes, like the OP read through episodes, or the ranking, find the opening and endings rankings and stuff.
A lot of those were 2015. We had a bunch in 2019, I think. Also,
those are some of my favorite episodes to do. Anyway, those are just really fun.
I feel like those those are when I'm kind of running out of stuff to listen to and I need something while I'm working. Sometimes I'll dig back to some of those because I feel like they stand on their own better than just a random chapter of Dressrosa or something, Sometimes
it's interesting, I hear, for people to hear older episodes and what was going on in the world contextually. Yeah. We talked about a meme here twice, and I'm sure as they'll age like milk, the Breaking Bad one.
So turn to cheese.
It's turned to delicious cheese. I've been thinking about it lately since all of our episodes are now available on the main feed, 1 through 790. And I've been thinking, at what point am I no longer embarrassed by the episodes is my barometer. There are certainly a bunch of very good episodes early on, but I feel much more scattershot. The first one with Greg, a lot of the Strong World stuff. The first one with Steven. Some of the ones we did in Steve's apartment or dorm back in the day, I had fun with.
I mean, you could listen to all of 20 minutes of bullshit if you really want.
Yeah. There's some fun stuff in there.
There's some. It's some good me and Steve riffing for way longer than 20 minutes.
Or you could subscribe on Patreon if you haven't and listen to all of Forced to Watch 4 Kids, which I highly recommend.
Of course, we're turning this into a plug. Well, naturally. Anyway, choice is up to you, Sailor. Brute says, "Hey OPP, I've seen multiple theories about why Marines below a certain rank are forbidden from looking at Saturn. Some involving his power killing them immediately, and others about him not wanting the rank and file troops to turn and run in fear. But I personally think the Elders are simply just as absurdly prideful as the other celestial dragons, or even more so, and the idea that even that average Marines could observe them absolutely disgusts them. They barely view other humans with the respect a person would give an animal. I mean, that's.
I did forget to mention. It's funny that Saturn used the line a few chapters ago. Oh, human, like they're just insects. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, well, I guess he's an arachnid.
Ants, Ted.
Yeah. Steven, what were we going to say?
I agree with this person. I think that's probably, I mean, it could be a combination of that, but I do feel like that's just sort of like, yeah, you're not even allowed to behold them because they're too powerful and important for, you vermin to view, lay your dirty eyes on and stuff like that.
You see, I think the difference is that the regular celestial dragon, I guess, would see them as like a human being as like a rodent or like a larger annoying creature of some sort, a sibling, but that instead Garcia, I feel like, sees them as like a flea or a tick or like something you don't even really think about, but that you also need to be wary of at times. Like it's not like you don't feel prideful over an ant versus over like an animal that you don't like for some reason if you're a celestial dragon. But I don't feel like there's an animosity as much with the five elders as much as there's like you're not even worth my time, or you're not even worth worrying about.
Maybe it's like a celebrity like anxiety thing, like Michael Jackson or whoever, where they're just like, you can't, no, you're not supposed to talk to me or whatever. And that's they just they're
it says in his rider not to look him in the eyes.
Exactly.
For your own good.
Don't call him a monster.
Nope. All right, one last diss piece, and it's from Cram Stoker, who says, "Ahoy OPP, banger chapter as always. Love Saturn's design so much. And seeing Luffy, however, temporarily subdue Kizaru with a named version of the punch that he used to punch through Kaido ruled. Back to Saturn, though. What do you think his favorite fast food is?"
Sorry.
Well, I mean, okay. No, I can canonically answer this. He's Jaygarcia Saturn, so obviously his favorite fast food is Sonic.
Oh yeah. Yep. Good answer.
Yeah, but they changed up the munchie meal. It's they dropped the ball.
Yeah, there's too many spider legs in it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like beef stuff at first, like what burgers, and then I was like, is that too weird for him to be eating burgers? So
yeah, he's a cow.
Yeah,
honestly,
but he's a yokai cow, so cannibalism, I feel like.
Yeah,
my knee-jerk reaction was just to say Arby's.
Oh no, it's got to be Red Lobster or something on the ocean since he's a sea dwelling.
No, it's
is Ben and Jerry's fast food.
I'm trying
Long
to
John
think
Silver's.
Long John Silver's. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Where is there still a Long John Silver's? That's what I want.
That's
to know.
the thing. I was trying to think
around.
of like a seafood fast food place.
That's the only one, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's why Red Lobster was the first thing. I mean,
Captain
that's like
D's.
it's a step up from fast food. It's like an Olive Garden. What do you call
fish.
that?
Wait, Joey, did you just say Zaxby's?
Captain D's.
Captain D's?
That's a fast food.
Captain
I've heard of
D's.
that.
Really?
Captain D's nuts. Yeah, I mean
The will of Captain D.
the will of Captain D's nuts.
Real mature guys.
Yeah,
Sorry, you
we're
couldn't
all
say
in our
Captain D's without me going, "Ugh," like sitting on
we're
my
all in
hands,
our
like-
30s and or 40s here. I think we're allowed to make a balls joke once in a while.
Yeah,
Is
we've
there
really been
anything
sitting
else?
on that one for a while.
Oh, Jesus
Ouch.
Christ. Look, we're not. Never mind. Alex, what?
That's it. Move on.
I was gonna say we're not a Tanuki teapot. There we go. Let's go. Ed, what's our next segment here?
I believe he's going over to the subreddit archipelago with Steven.
That's right. We have only a few questions here on our subreddit at reddit.com/r/One Piece Podcast. And I will start with Shucksnick718, who says, "Hi OPP, not really a question, but rather something I noticed I think I'm the only one who thinks Saint Saturn looks like Willie from that one Treehouse of Horror episode where he kills kids in their dreams. I guess we'll have to wait to confirm that next week when he turns into a tank, then a rocket, and finally an elephant.
And bagpipes.
My response to that is I don't like the I don't like the idea of the pastafistas making 2 spaghetti dinners.
Don't touch Saturn. Good advice.
I've never. That's going up with Aokiji, isn't it? Aokiji. I'm never living that one down.
Everybody's
Just like you're never living the jump scare down, Alex.
Everybody's favorite. That's okay. Everybody's favorite 90s sitcom. Yokiji.
Yokiji. It's then Yokai Watch. Go ahead.
I like that. This listener, like so many people, where he gets his references to things through The Simpsons, so he doesn't know that it's, or doesn't mention that it's the Friday the 13th, and it's
13,
just it's just Willie from Treehouse of Horror. Anyways, Avatar Calamity also asks, hey OPP, do you ever think we'll get to a point where the anime covers all of the unadapted cover stories? Some, like the Mads cover story where Pudding gets captured, has a direct tie-in with the current plot, so that would have to be adapted at some point. I wish we could have had some breathing room at the end of the Wano arc to revisit some favorite characters. I'm just waiting for Eneru's cover story to be adapted, because then that would mean his story is relevant. Are there any cover stories you would love to see adapted?
All of them.
Yeah,
agreed.
Especially
That's
now.
the right
Let's go
answer.
see Ace's cover story. It's it's going to be important.
Look, I think Kadatsu's is underrated. That one's fantastic.
Yes.
Eneru's is like insanely potentially important. Potentially.
Very cool.
They're all. I mean, Kobe and Helmeppo already. That one already got adapted, just in the live action version instead of the anime. And so on. I agree with Steve, though. I think they should all be.
Yeah, they should.
I wonder if something like this monster special proves successful, if they could do something like that, like do some OAVs or some straight to streaming specials that compile some of the cover stories or something.
Yeah,
and
you
One Piece
can
is doing very well.
You can pitch them on it by saying hey, and guess what? You can have just 5 minutes of Orlumbus folding his laundry, and that's all you need to animate. It's incredible.
I would love that. I just want a GIF of that. Just
Orlumbus animations to fold clothes to.
Wow. It sucks that we don't wait until this piece to.
I know.
Subtitles.
We've had some much better ones.
Yeah. Well, but that is it for the Subreddit Archipelago.
Okay.
And it's time to
Piece the tweet. Yeah. All right. We got a piece of tweet this week. The first one comes from Brandon King, who says, if you guys could eat any meal that's appeared in the story of One Piece, what would it be?
Oh,
the one Jinbei got to eat for the crew recently. And Wano is one.
I want the.
I think about that water meat, and I also think about those fried potatoes Sanji made that one time.
Or that bento he made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Straw Hat bento before it got all washed up in the rain and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I want it after it got washed up. No.
Okay, you want the water bento?
I want the water bento.
Yeah, I got to be careful because I'm allergic to shellfish, and I know Oda likes to throw random shit in his pizzas and stuff. But I don't know, maybe try that cherry pie and see who I agree with.
Ooh, that's a good call.
I would Sanji made palm aligot and aligot, and I want that. I've had it before. It's
So the cheese sauce?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
I just watched that.
with something confit, and I'm like, that sounds like that's up my alley.
Confit is just, that's just fat.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here with my answer and say wedding cake. Sorry, I'm rereading.
Oh man,
Yeah, it's dripping
I
with
want
blood.
to.
I really want to know what that tastes like.
Yeah, with the Sim Sim whip.
Especially Sanji's version.
Yeah.
With the Sim Sim whip.
if it'll make me cry.
Yeah.
Remind you of
those
kids you ate.
Yeah, I wonder if those kids tasted any good.
Do you know
My favorite meal.
that was my favorite. But you know, I do want to add one thing. Even less tasty than kids is usually wedding cake in its like traditional form.
Oh yeah, wedding cake stinks. It's all white cake with white frosting. It stinks.
Like the basic wedding cake.
Well, what about my wedding cake?
Wow, your silence speaks
Yeah.
volumes. Ed.
No, because I'm
I had good wedding
recollecting.
cakes at my wedding. So.
The one with the Earl Grey Namalaka or the Nakama. Namalaka, but yeah, that was.
Ed, what's next?
The next one comes from Gabe Ruiz, who says, Oda is starting off spooky season, so scary, a grandma with the ride fruit. No, but seriously, it's fun people's desires to create god fruits, so similarly, demon ones can exist. But OPP, would you rather Saint J be a fruit user or an actual demon?
I'd rather him be a movie critic. It stinks.
Thanks.
Saint J.
Why do we come up with all this stuff after the manga?
Saint Jaygarcia Saturn. How have we not done that?
Man.
Oh my god.
Or even better when you're dead.
Well, if you do want to draw that yokai, Steve, I'll call it Saint Jaygarcia.
Yeah, Saint Jaygarcia Sherman.
Yeah.
I'll just say it again next week. It's
Because
fine.
that's a good title. Yeah.
I'll say it again next week. I'll just say
Yeah,
it
okay.
again.
I'm sure it'll be really natural when it comes to
I think he is a fruit user though.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I
think
guess
it's
the
like a
question was
combination.
what
Like I said,
yeah, go
like
ahead.
some of the stuff he's doing is outside of a fruit ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think
if it is related to, if we go as far as to be saying like, and they're related to this demon race or something, maybe those horns are not related to the fruit and he has just a spider fruit of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe it's a mythical fruit. Who knows?
I think it probably is. Was the question which is cooler?
No, just which would you rather
Just
have
what
it
you
be?
want.
Yeah.
Well, which would? That's a good question. I don't know.
I think I'd rather him be a demon, and then he ate the human fruit model old man with a beard.
Which, yeah, I was trying to remember which historical figure people thought he was based off of. It's not
Based
Gorbachev.
off of Spike from Gremlins 2.
Okay.
I love that just because we have the one that looks like Gorbachev. Everybody's like, oh, the other ones must be related.
Yeah, that one's Gandhi.
Not really.
Yeah, Gandhi, the guy
I
that's
remember.
clearly
Yeah, he
from
looks- no,
Wano.
Yeah.
The Gandhi character with a katana, by the
Right,
way. Yeah,
right.
he looks more like a monk, like a Buddhist monk than.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that did go by the wayside pretty quick. What's
You want
next?
to talk about canceled characters? Yeah, there's no way. I think.
Yeah.
Say what?
Pikmin Man says, you think we'll witness the Egghead incident within the next 2 coming chapters?
Isn't this it? Aren't we like in it?
Or
Yeah.
maybe
I still think.
I don't know.
I still think something worse is going to happen.
Maybe
No, I do too.
6 chapters from now, possibly.
Oh, I see what Steve's suggestion.
Oh, 1100.
I hope Oda actually like puts stuff in there and doesn't just stretch it so it hits 1,000.
He's
you
not.
could stretch it with a flashback.
Oh yeah, I'd be fine
could.
with that. But
But-
as long as it's not like a.
But Oda didn't even know chapter 1000 was coming up until one of his assistants told him. Like he didn't. He's like, oh, I guess I should do something for that one.
Oda was just
Like, I
vibing
don't-
up until then.
Yeah, he's just like bluegrass. He's vibing
And riding.
and riding.
And hugging the turns. All right. Next one comes from Notchworks, who says, hey, OPP, what would your demon/spooky season devil fruit be, and what would your dramatic entrance look like? Joey, how about you?
My favorite yokai is the Kasa Obake, which is the umbrella guy who's not very spooky, but that's what I'll be. I'll be a hopping umbrella with my tongue sticking out.
I don't know, guys. Which one am I? Am I like the blue or the red ogre? Am I Gaz or Mez?
No, you're the what's
from
the wall?
Home for Infinite Losers.
What's the giant wall?
Oh
Nube-
yeah,
What, from
Nuri
Doro?
Abe.
No, yeah, from Kitaro, the giant
Doro.
wall.
Gonna say
Yeah,
Kabe Don,
giant
but
wall.
that's a different thing.
It's Nurikabe.
Nurikabe.
Yurikabe. Yeah, that's you, Steve. Look him up.
So I'll have to go through I'll have to go through doorways sideways, I guess.
Let's see. Spooky season. I like the Gill Man, like the creature from the Black
Oh
Lagoon.
yeah.
So I would that's what mine would be. And I would like I don't know, come out through a toilet. It'd be fun.
A ghoulie.
Yeah, that's right. And I'd I'd spin out like reverse going down a toilet.
I would be the Gasha Dokuro mythical type 12-foot Home Depot skeleton model.
That's the right answer.
That's great.
That's what we would all want to be. Anything else, Ed?
All right, one more from Shaheen SD, who says, do you think that we'll get to chapter 1100 by the end of the year? Where is... we've got several questions. Where is Caribou at?
Probably.
Since he already knows 2 of the 3 ancient weapons, I think when we get to know what Uranus is, his role in the plot will finally be significant. Any yokai you would like to see. So if you'd like to answer any of those questions, be my guest.
Thank you, Ed.
We definitely will, even with the breaks, I think we will
I think so too.
Get to 1100.
Like, let's say you get a break every other week. That would be 12 weeks. That would still be pretty close. It would just be just over 2024. And that's not gonna happen,
Well,
so.
and I also meant like the breaks because there are the 2 double issues.
Right.
Yeah, and those are usually in
Toward the end.
December-ish. Yeah.
I think I actually know this. I think I have that schedule still from that, so I could find out. But yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I think
it'll be around that
on
time,
Christmas Day.
Fun!
Believe it or not, yeah.
All right, that's all I got.
Any other? Okay, why don't we round off? And since Joey is here, I'm going to do something I have not done
Oh
in
no!
months.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm going to do just a little bit of trivia. So let's round off. This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 790 for October 9th, 2023. Thank you all so much for coming on. A quick rundown of stuff happening this week. The first 4Kids flashback episode is out on Patreon on Wednesday. The newest OPLA episode, which is our Netflix One Piece podcast series with Marc Jobst, the director for episodes 1 and 2 and executive producer, that's going to be out on Wednesday. Those I think are the big things. Am I missing anything podcast wise? Subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Check out our brand new website, onepiecePodcast.com. Yeah, I think those are all the major things I want you to know. I never get to plug, so I'm just going to plug the podcast. Joey, where could people find you?
I'm at Joey Weiser on Twitter and at Blue Sky, and Joey Weiser Comics on Instagram. Instagram is mostly just posting my art and stuff about my comics, whereas Blue Sky and Twitter is a lot more kind of general tweeting about anime, manga, movies, all that sorts of stuff. I don't have much in the way of events for the rest of the year, but please check out my graphic novels. Right now is a great time to read Ghost Hog, which is a spooky comic about a ghost hog. And then you can also check out its sequel, Dragon Racer, which both of those books are self-contained, so you can read one without having to read the other, but they got ghosts and dragons and stuff. I bet you'll like them. And they would make great gifts for later in the year, too, if you're doing gift giving. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
I have to get those soon, because I think I'm almost... I forget the age range that's recommended for it. Thank you, Joey.
Don't worry, Zach. You could read them anytime.
Anytime.
No, I use my son as an excuse to read all kids' books. Alex, where could people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at @dude! Or whatever it is on Blue Sky. But And Weeb Simpsons is on Twitter at Weeb Simpsons. I got back to posting every once in a while again. If I have the inspiration, if it strikes me. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with those once Twitter dies. Because I don't know about migrating it to Blue Sky quite yet. But if anybody has any ideas as to how to properly preserve all that in a place where people can go and see it, let me know. Also at Super Art Fight, follow them too. Why not?
Steven.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Stephen Paul, and I guess obviously read One Piece, Akane Banashi, and Shoha Shoten on the Viz app, the Shonen Jump app, the Manga Plus or Manga Plus Max. You said that's the title
subscription
of
model.
The new that's
the vault. I think essentially
catch up on all those if you need to, and since we did have to leave early, I will also give a shout out to follow Brandon Bovia at Brandon Bovia on Twitter. Check out Kaiju No. 8 Dragon Ball Super. He's done a bunch of other stuff. I think he has a pinned tweet that has all of his list of credits, and check out his One Piece at a Time podcast as well.
Yeah, he tweets a lot of insightful stuff about manga lettering that I find very interesting. So
me too.
People should check it out.
Yeah, it's an underappreciated art. I think it's very. Yeah. I was trying to think of the word for it. It's very interesting to hear Brandon's perspective. Steve, where could people find you?
SteveYurko.com, social media at Steve Yurko, the Let's Play channel, ProZD Plays Games over on YouTube, and now the new podcast, 4Kids Flashback. Check that out over at 4kidsflashback.com.
Ed, where could the good people find us?
Well, you're still Zach_Logan on Twitter for the time being. I'm still Edward E. One Piece. The podcast can be found at the new and improved OnePiecePodcast.com. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Our social media is Instagram.com/OnePiecePodcast and YouTube.com/OnePiecePodcast. Again, please support us. Subscribe on Patreon. Please subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any number of podcatchers, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, and call us on our phone number. Zach?
The phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
MAJI.
That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, or how this podcast is finger landing good. So, right on topic. I have Sanji's cookbook out here. We haven't done a trivia in a while, and I feel like this could be a nice, easy, fun one where we're not, stressing. I'm just going to read some of the ingredients in some of these recipes and just tell me either the arc it came from or the recipe. Steve, I know, knows all the answers. So Steve is going to be, for those who remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, your lifeline. First, you could only use him once, though.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
No, it is. It's fun.
Okay. So the order will be Alex, then Ed, then Joey, and then Steven. And it's the first 1 to 3. I'm looking at this randomly. I haven't looked at this cookbook in way too long.
Zach says this is no stress, but I'm the one who translated it, so it's going to look especially bad if I don't remember.
I was saying, Steven feels like more of a lifeline than me.
Well, but Steven, you also translate more than just One Piece.
I was going to say, how long ago did you translate this?
I don't remember fucking shit about it. So.
Okay, good, perfect.
And Zach also
there's
picked
a disclaimer.
Zach also picked the perfect trivia topic to torture me while I wait to get something to eat after this podcast.
This is no stress for me because I already know off the bat I'm not going to know any of the answers. So
I wouldn't know any of these answers, Joey. I'm just going to say now. Let's start. First one, Alex. This one has 3 fillets of salmon, a little salt, a little white pepper, 1/4 of a head of cabbage, half an onion, half a carrot, a little vegetable oil, some sake, sugar, miso, butter, and soy sauce. I don't want to give away the whole recipe here. Given that, what do you think this recipe is for, or what arc is it from?
Okay, you said salmon fillet?
Salmon, 3 fillets of salmon, that's the main thing. Salt,
Okay.
white pepper, cabbage, onion, carrot, vegetable oil, sake, sugar, miso, butter, sauce. Soy sauce.
God, Jesus. I mean, it sounds tasty.
Well, I could show you what it looks like. Let's see if I could do this
Sure.
without spoiling you.
Probably not.
Okay, so it
That's not going to help you at all,
is
though.
well, is it cooked or raw?
It's cooked.
Okay.
This one's not easy. My
Uh,
hint will be you can't actually make this in real life.
Okay, sure. Is this from Fishman Island?
No.
But you can't actually make it in real life?
I think I know.
No,
which
no,
one.
you could, but you probably shouldn't.
I've
Sorry.
tried making this.
No, not the recipe. I mean with the actual fish that's involved in this.
Okay,
you can, but you shouldn't.
Well, hold. You can, but you shouldn't.
Well, people don't usually eat this unless. I mean,
Okay, well, is this like a Sea King dish?
No. Ed, do you want to guess? You said you wanted to jump.
Is this from Logtown?
No. Any other
No?
guesses?
Okay.
Steven, Joey?
Oh, I was just gonna guess if it was the elephant tuna. Yeah.
No.
Salmon, not tuna.
That would be tuna, though.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, that's
Joey,
right.
you want to guess an arc?
Yeah. Water 7. He doesn't cook there.
Skypea. It's
Okay.
roasted sky shark from Sky
No.
Yeah,
Island.
it's the sky shark dish. Yeah.
I knew
Sky
Steve
shark,
would know
AKA
these.
AKA Earth salmon.
Um,
They don't even ask you to get a shark fillet. I can go
Okay.
to H Mart and buy skate. That's even closer.
People
This
in the middle of
one-
the country have never seen an H Mart. Alex, come on.
Okay, well,
Ed.
There's an H Mart in Chicago. Well, yes.
Oh, yeah, we have
but
H
below
Marts.
that.
all right, next. Let's keep them going.
Okay, wait, let me... here we go. What is this? Does it say which arc? Oh, there we go. This one has, Ed, a lot of penne, 2 slices of ham, milk, heavy cream, blue cheese, grated Parmesan cheese, little black pepper, flat leaf parsley, water, and salt. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about torturing Steve.
This sounds good.
This is like that lobster seafood gorgonzola pasta.
Yes!
Yeah.
Do you remember what arc it's from for a bonus point?
Oh,
That
Cake
one's
Island?
hard. No,
That's
Amazon.
Amazon Lily.
Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Because Gorgon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh wow.
Good one, Ed. That was really good.
I
Joey,
remember that. I remember that dish. I remember that one from the show.
Let's see. Okay. This one, Joey, you might be able to get this, but I don't know. Maybe not. Apples, 2 apples, cinnamon sticks, lemon juice, cardamom pods, butter, granulated sugar. This one sounds good, but I don't know if you want to eat this.
Oh.
That's my hint.
So it's like a drink. It's like a cider or something.
No, it's not. It's do you want me to read? I can read it's only 3 steps. Slice the apples half lengthwise, scoop out the seeds, break cinnamon sticks into 1-inch pieces, dampen with water to keep from burning. Add lemon juice, cardamom, butter to the apple surface and stick the cinnamon to the center. Scatter the sugar on the surface and bake in a toaster oven.
I do remember this one.
Okay, so it's I mean, I understand what kind of dish it is. I don't know.
show you a picture.
Thriller bark.
Actually, this picture may help for this one.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Any do you want me to jump ball it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, go ahead.
It is Doc
Or-
Q's Exploding Apples.
Correct, Stephen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sanji doesn't make those.
I think you're missing the point of the book.
No, I'm not.
They would throw him in
It has-
jail.
It has
But
Sanji, on the cover.
Sanji crafted this recipe based on his experience seeing
Yeah,
Doc Q.
that's it.
Oh,
I see.
yeah.
I see. Okay.
All right,
He was
Stephen.
inspired. Okay.
18 ounces pork spare ribs, salt, black pepper, celery salt, carrot, daikon radish cut lengthwise, lettuce, and then a sauce with onion, sesame oil, ponzu, and grated garlic to taste.
Okay. And pork was the main
Pork is the pork ribs.
pork ribs.
which my hint's going to be I would not have guessed that it was pork.
Oh, great.
But that's also because I'm Jewish and I don't really think of these things like that.
Is this like his? Is this his version of like the Bronto ribs?
No.
From Little Garden.
No. Any. I'll jump ball if anyone wants to guess arc or dish. I'll say it's one that's been mentioned today.
Oh, is this?
What were the ingredients again?
Sea King. It's Sea King. It's like
No.
a Sea King roast.
Sea King.
Pork, spare ribs, salt, black pepper, celery.
Is it the water meat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Remember that one?
Okay. That one was for Steven, right?
Yes.
I was the one who mentioned it. So
Ed has
leg
2
up there.
points, so if Ed gets one more point, he wins. Okay, Alex.
Alex has left the building.
Oh, should have looked up before I said that.
Alex is back.
Here we go.
Cat
Alex,
knocked something over.
here's
What's up?
one. This
Okay.
one has
Go.
3 eggs, sugar, milk, vanilla bean, and then a caramel sauce with sugar and water.
This seems like it's probably a cake of some sort.
Is a dessert.
It's a dessert. Is
Wow.
it like? Wow. So 3 eggs. Is this like a flan, like a
It
pudding?
is a flan. I'm going to give
Yeah.
you a point because you did get the food. I'll give you an extra
Flan.
point if you tell me what arc it is from.
What arc it's from?
Or character it's related to, but
Okay. This is probably a little tougher, but I think that this is. Oh, Jesus. Is this like from Thriller Bark?
correct. Do you?
Yeah. Sindri has
Yep.
like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. She drops the flan on the table.
Yeah.
Good
great.
job.
Nice.
That was.
Most
Sorry.
impressive.
The way this right. I'm not asking this question, but it says Luffy and Zoro love bread crusts. Sorry, just the way that's
They're
written.
ducks.
Wow.
So
Each
they
other.
they cut
French
the crust
toast
off for
sticks.
Chopper. Chopper doesn't like the crust, and they eat it.
All right, what are the standings so far? Everybody's got a point.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that's
Ed
a
has
tough
2.
one.
I have
No,
two.
Alex, you have 2. Ed has 2. Joey has 0. Steven has 1. Here's a good one. Ed, if you get this right, you win. Chicken, salt, 1 chicken, salt, black pepper, onion, vegetable oil, water, and then you mix it with cooked rice, tomato, chopped parsley, salt, black pepper. I will give you a hint. This is something that Sanji somehow, without being there, concocted, I guess. It's based off of something completely different. Go ahead. It's not like an actual dish in the series. That's what I'm trying to say. It's based off. Of
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought it was Is it the fried rice?
No.
That doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Jump ball, either arc or
Is this meat on the bone?
no.
Is it Dressrosa if he's not there?
'Cause I know
By the
that
way, you've all had Steve as a potential lifeline here, and no
Oh
one's.
shit, that's right. Yeah.
The answer is Impel Down's roast hummingbird. It is the bird
Oh,
that flies in and roasts.
What?
Yeah.
I remember
do
that.
not remember this.
Joey. Let's see. Here we go. This one's 4 chicken drumsticks, 4 hard-boiled eggs, breadcrumbs, and a tablespoon of milk with a mix of ground chicken, salt, black pepper, and egg.
Were you listening to that, Steve?
You need me on this one?
Yeah, let's do it. You can be my lifeline.
Zach, just to make sure, read through it one more time.
4 chicken drumsticks, hard-boiled eggs, breadcrumbs, milk, ground chicken, salt, black pepper, egg, vegetable oil.
That's Luffy's meat on the bone.
Are you going with that, Joey?
Sure.
That's correct. Good
Hooray.
job,
Damn,
Joey.
I knew that
Using
one.
your lifeline.
Yeah.
I just want to double check. I didn't want to
I knew that was
It's more like
heard
a
that,
Scotch.
but-
It's more like a Scotch egg.
Yeah, it's like a Scotch egg,
yeah.
but on a stick.
Steven. We have shiitake mushrooms, shimeji mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, bacon, vegetable oil, rosemary, salt, black pepper, butter.
God, I gotta get this cookbook. This actually sounds amazing.
Yeah. You have any other
Nope.
additional hints?
No, I feel
Nothing?
like it's pretty obvious.
Okay. Mushroom. Yeah. I mean, I'm remembering that there was a dish that had a couple different kinds of mushroom, but I don't recall the context of it. It's the mushroom that Django ate to get his beard. Yeah.
Can I guess?
No, I like it, but no. Jump ball.
Is it Drum Island?
No.
Oh.
Is it Amazon Lily?
Correct. Alex, you win the game.
Oh, Alex.
Laughing mushrums.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Congratulations,
For a
Alex.
laugh.
Featuring some human beings mushroom.
Don't use
It's like a
Leafy's
bowl. It's like
mushroom.
yeah. It's like a container of popcorn at the movie.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! Steven!
Wow.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay.
It's a good note to go out on.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. We're going to be back with another manga recap, believe it or not. And our guests next week are Alan Ortega, also joining us after a long absence. So excited for that. We'll see you then, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
And apologies to Joey for making him do trivia, but we'll see you all next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Joey was the nicest one. He asked me for a lifeline.
That's
when
true.
it
He
was so easy. It's fine.
I just
If
didn't want to
only-
end this with 0 points. So
If only there was a little pasta fista. Pasta. That's how it's pronounced, right? Doing MP3s.